showed up on Drew Holiday's medical reports. The trade with Portland Anthony Simons was straight up and did not include a pair of second-round draft picks. The Boston Globe is reporting Al Horford continues to consider retirement. He's not close to a decision. In other NBA news, Orlando has re-signed All-Star Paolo Banchero to a 5-year rookie max extension. It's a prize package worth $239 million. Phoenix will reportedly buy out the remainder of Bradley Beal's contract as soon as today. Suns have also reportedly signed Devin Booker to a 2-year, $150 million extension. And in tennis news, the men's quarterfinals of Wimbledon begin this morning in London. Top American Taylor Fritz, Carlos Alcaraz, and women's top seed Aryna Sabalenka all are scheduled to play. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Catches Law. At Catches, they specialize in helping those who have been injured not only from a one-time incident, but from a lifetime of hard work and labor. Does this sound like you? Visit CatchesLaw.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
Boston's best sports talk. There's an app for that. Download the Sports Hub app for loads of stuff. Absolutely free. Connect with the shows, get podcasts, and more. Get it where you get your apps. Or at 985sportshub.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher.
When has that been necessary to fact check?
And Heidi.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
On 98.5.
Hey there.
Sarge GPT moving up.
Let me hear you say, "Boo! Boo! Boo!"
Crush me, mommy. Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the Pope.
I'm a goddamn drag!
Yeah, good luck, dude.
Nothing like a good tushy.
Uh-huh.
I love you, and I think you know that.
Excuse me?
Toucher and Heidi.
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fun.
Having some fun.
On 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
And this is like a not, the hardest thing to ingest, but she seemed pretty swept up in the racing scenes. But I did talk to Kendra about it because she's like a big F1 person, and I even said to Zoe, I'm like, I know Kendra's going to be upset at this film because she knows too much about F1, and then it's like one of those things.
She's the one.
Well, I'm sure it's like posery, like because
Of
like
course.
because it's designed for people that don't know anything about F1 because that's everybody. And so I'm sure that if you're like a fan of it, it's one of those things that's annoying. Like if you see a movie about, just for instance, like the New York punk scene in like the 70s, and it's not entirely accurate or not in enough detail, and since you know a lot about it, you're like, it's for posers. Like, so I'm sure that's how people who really know about F1 feel about it.
I can't believe Brad Pitt dared to tread on Sylvester Stallone's previously great movie called Driven.
Oh, yeah?
No, I never saw Driven.
It was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. Stallone is in the Brad Pitt role. As the old over-the-hill, I don't know if that's what happens here, but Brad Pitt, from what I've read, is the old driver who comes in to save the team. That's the thing. Stallone comes in as a washed-up driver to save the team, and I think the guy who played Sunshine and Remember the Titans is the young driver.
Well, it's funny. They introduced this female character that's like around Brad Pitt's age, and Brad Pitt's older than me, but like around Brad Pitt's age, and he looks terrible now. This woman, and it's funny because like you just go, okay, so he bangs her. And it's pretty unnecessary. And it's not like erotic or anything. They just show him like kissing, but like then they do have sex but it doesn't factor into the beginning, middle, or end of the film.
It's just there.
It's not like a hot scene where they're like, she's attractive, but she's not like hot. They obviously go, we have to kind of shoehorn in a romance. It really does not move the plot in any way. And it's not, yeah, you know what, it's not erotic. It's, in this lady, no ass or boobs to speak of.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. If you're going to do it, at least let me hear slapping and gushing. So anyway, what is that in front of you?
Some
Is that a
breezy
sign
conditions
frisbee?
here today.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if we could add this to our collection of memorabilia in front of our board. I got as part of my color analyst duties for the Boston Glory game against the DC Breeze the other day. They gave me a disc, and the whole team signed it.
You know what that looks like is when I coached my son's sports, and the team would and the 8-year-olds would sign the ball.
Like they have the
Because
number.
they all use different colored markers.
They have the number of the uniform they're wearing.
Well, and
underneath
also
the signature.
they have the signatures of an 8-year-old.
No.
Yeah. It absolutely. You can tell these are people that don't sign their name very often. On checks or on. They're not endorsing a lot of checks, nor
You know
are
what?
they.
Keep it up, and I'm going to rescind the offer of adding it to the wall of memorabilia.
You can
over
add
here.
it to the wall of memory. It's all yours. You can add it to anything you want.
Now, which side gets displayed, though? The Boston Glory side or the autograph side?
Maybe the autograph side so fans can learn about the team.
Well, I think so. They can see that it is an actual piece of memorabilia, not just something I bought at the concession stand.
Either way.
But I mean, John, have you seen it?
No.
Because I'm not lying. It looks like it was signed by 8-year-olds.
No. All right. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some people that are just like, Lindy.
That's right.
How hard is it to sign your name?
This one kind of looks like it says "eat fat." I don't know what is that. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
It's what John does.
He's French. You're pronouncing it wrong.
Okay.
So,
So they're transfers.
now did you obviously asked for that and asked if they would give that to you?
No, it was presented to me. It was kind of ceremonious almost. It was nice.
Yeah.
It goes right there.
What were there kids in the crowd?
Yeah, there were a lot of kids there.
Because it was free.
No. And they had a little halftime contest too, with kids coming down there onto the field and throwing discs at almost like a can jam type of thing.
So it wasn't free.
No,
How much did it cost to get in?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean you didn't.
They're working.
But you're positive it costs money.
Positive. There were probably a certain number of comp tickets given out, but yeah, it's a money-making enterprise. It's a professional team. They sell tickets.
And there was like concessions and things.
Yeah.
Like a booster club or like real concessions. I'm not joking either.
I didn't see it. To be frank with you, I showed up a little late. I was playing golf that morning, and my match went into one extra hole.
Oh.
And I was had to quickly and Sunday very, very hot. So I get off the golf course. I'm supposed to be at Hormel Stadium at 12:30. I am still on the golf course at 11:45 in Sharon. Okay, so this is not good. I had already looked. It's going to take me 45 minutes to get there. So we do the one extra playoff hole in our match because I screwed up the last two holes. I was 2 up, lost the last 2 holes, had to go back to number 1, kick 2 people off the tee box. Like, sorry, we got a match going here. The head pro was there. He sanctioned
Smoothed
all
away.
this.
Yes.
Fred, all I did was make birdie on that hole to win the match.
Wow,
no big whoop.
No
okay?
big whoop.
Okay.
But if I was
second birdie I made all summer, and then instead of I brought clothes with me, but I'm like, I don't have time to shower. What I did was I ran upstairs, threw on my bathing suit, jumped in the pool. My wife was at the pool. I said, "Hi, honey." She said, "Where are you going?" I said, "Medford." And I just jumped in the pool to get the sweat off of me. Got dressed, drove up there. So I didn't get a chance to see the entire layout of the concessions and all that stuff. But yeah, they were selling things.
okay,
Sure.
because if I went to like a Patriots game or a Red Sox game and went to the press box, I would be able to tell there was concessions just by being around. Just even if I was outside of the venue, I would be able to see that there was concessions. Like at even at a BC Eagles game,
You have to walk in. You see ticket takers, and unless there's a special press entrance, I'm not aware of.
BC baseball, there's like a couple concessions things.
Sure.
Like there's, you would know that there's concessions, but I am looking to end the mystery. If you buy game tickets in advance, they're $10.
Yeah.
Day of game, they're $20. which I'm sure is negotiable. A season ticket package is is $300 for. That's for a family.
Yeah, that's the fair.
$100 for a youth ticket. Now they have a Glory Founders ticket.
$100 adult, $70 youth season ticket.
So there's a Founders ticket. You get a hat, T-shirt, and a ticket to every home game ever played by Boston Glory. And that's $600. And I got, through a friend, 2 tickets to BC football who played Notre Dame and Clemson for $1,000 total. So for only $400 more, if you know an alumni, you can, or a current student, I can't remember which one it is for, you can get, you could see Clemson and Notre Dame as well as others for just $400 more. But they're pretty confident that you could buy a ticket for every game ever in the history of as long as they exist.
Yeah.
How many seasons have they existed? How many seasons have the Boston Glory existed for?
Several, John. Now, this was very uncharacteristic of me because when I walked up there, and Fred, I think, and I know John would be the same way. Fred, I think you'd be the same way too. You're not going to barge in and just blow through everything and act like you own the place, right? I'm going to stop. I'm like, hey, I'm here to meet somebody.
Right.
And and it's like, oh, do I need to buy a ticket? Whatever. I'd informed them. I said, look, I'm going to be there like at 12:50 for the 1 o'clock start. And Luke, the guy I was talking to, he's like, that's fine. Don't worry about it. But I wanted to be there in plenty of time. So when I walked up to the gates, there was a place where you stood there for your tickets to either buy or hand them in. And I just walked right past and walked right in and walked over to the bleachers and started climbing up.
I own this place.
Kind of.
Yeah.
And you know what? It felt good. It felt like for a moment, I was the man I always wanted to be. Confident and just sure of myself and like, I ain't going to take no crap from nobody. I just walked in the joint. And people like this. I know people like this who do it all the time. I'm like, how do you have the balls to do that? You have to stop there. You're doing it wrong. You got to play by the rules. No, I just walked in.
They're co-ed teams, huh?
No, they're not co-ed.
Oh, this isn't. I'm not kidding. This isn't a woman on the ticket. Oh no, it's not. It's a man.
Hardy's looking at it.
I mean, you could see why I made the mistake.
Yeah.
It's like a man bun situation. My bad.
Okay.
My bad. But yeah. So
now, what's cool is they not only have Boston Glory merch, but they have merch for their star player Jeff Babbitt, multiple MVP.
Now, Jeff Babbitt's like the Michael Jordan of this league.
Wallach knew who he was.
Yeah, they also have stuff they purchased from Goodwill.
That's not true. Back-to-back MVP T-shirts, JB87 hats. That kind of like.
That's his number. His number's 87.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So it's cool.
Where's? I didn't see his signature on the disc over there.
Sure, it is. It's right there.
Is it?
It's the one with dollar signs around it.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Jeff Babbitt. You put
in the middle.
Right there.
There it is.
Right
okay.
there.
I missed that.
They know where their bread's buttered, but they know this league. In order to survive, they need to promote their stars. The NHL could learn a thing or two from Ultimate, the AUL.
They do serve pizza and soda. Now, again, they go to a Cumberland Farms beforehand and pick this stuff up, but you are allowed to buy it. Pizza and soda they have at the games. So there you have it, in right there in Medford, and they have teams come in from out of.
UFA,
did you see the Winnebago that they had for the DC team? Or was it just like a van?
The DC team, who all live within 5 miles of the.
Right.
It wasn't a Winnebago. It wasn't a van. They all drove their own cars.
Oh, okay. All right. Very good.
Okay. Well, that's not good for gas. Adam doesn't like that. Everyone taking the individual cars.
No, didn't we learn from our intern Reese who played Ultimate out at Springfield College? Don't they have like a transportation vans that they take on their
Well, that's
big road
a college
trips?
thing.
Yeah. That's right.
So
They
the
have
college
money.
kids have it better off than the
Yeah,
pros.
well,
is what
they
you're
have
saying.
funding. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's actual funding for a van and gas.
Well, I would assume, yeah, that the college. I would absolutely assume the college has it better. I think the college,
But
up
even
until
that-
recently, the WNBA didn't have as good as college, like a major college program.
But even then, do you think that Springfield College is setting aside their finest vehicles for the use of the Ultimate Team as they travel down to High Tide? They're
No.
probably not.
No. I just think they get a vehicle.
Yeah.
It's funny. There is like some. Speaking of niche sports, there is a. There has to be a mandate with the networks to talk about the WNBA because on this station we play Fox Sports Radio on the weekend and Sunday starting at like 6:00. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I just wish I was the PD. I just wish that I don't know how they listen to it and go, this is something that's, I understand like Mad Dog on satellite gets like Amy Lawrence and really bad. They don't even let the guy that we used to be on ESPN, the terrible guy that
Robin Lundberg.
Robin Lundberg. He's it's almost cruel to put Robin Lundberg on the air. And I don't even say this to be mean. And if you're listening or ever hear this, Robin Lundberg, just get out of the business. Like you just can't do it. Like it's awkward and it's terrible. It sounds like you just took someone and put them on the radio without them knowing they're going to be on the radio, which is, I think the last time I heard him, it was when they fired the midday show on that Mad Dog network, the Beetle and Decker show, which wasn't good. They fired them and they didn't have anyone else to put on, or I guess they don't have anyone else to put on in the summer until Stephen A. Smith takes over. So they needed someone like that day, and it was Robin Lundberg, and it's a painful thing. But they have this terrible shows on, and they'll be talking about something, and then they'll pivot immediately for like a couple minutes into just out of the nowhere into the WNBA. And I'm thinking, there's no one listening that cares about this. Like, there has to be some sort of, because it's an uncomfortable pivot that pivots right back. I told you the other day where, I told you like 2 months ago, they were talking about it, and then they got out of it right away because and got into the NFL because obviously it's one of those shows where they know that they have to fill 4 hours, so they're just looking at a phone screener, and if there's nothing popping up, they're moving on topics. I mean, it's really bad. It's really, really bad. But they'll pop on something about the WNBA, and they'll go, "We have to get to this," and I'll think, "No, you don't. You don't have to get to this. It's of no interest to anyone. Stop talking about it." And that league, they keep saying that people talk too much about, the league keeps talking about, people talk too much about Caitlin Clark.
I heard someone on, I think it was on Sunday night, it was another host that was on talking about, it was a host, obviously, but it was a host that was on Sunday talking about another host who talked about the WNBA too much on the weekend programming. Like the subject was this other guy on the subject of the WNBA.
Did he talk about it too much?
Yes.
Oh, well, then that's at least good. Because it's awkward when they see each other. All right. Well, very good. There you go. You got your Frisbee and WNBA talk.
Yeah.
So everyone's satisfied. All right. When we come back, we'll catch you up with everything that happened last night.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy.
app. And let's get back to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Did you catch the game last night?
Hi. We're Toucher and Hardy. Hardy, what happened last night?
I'm glad you asked, Fred. As the Boston Red Sox taking on the Colorado Rockies. John, just give us a brief recap. What type of season are the Colorado Rockies having? They pretty good? They fair to average?
Historically bad, Hardy.
Oh.
They had 21 wins entering last night.
Oh, that's not a lot.
No.
That's fewer than I thought.
They were 21-69 entering last night.
Nice. Would the Red Sox be able to take advantage? The short answer is yes.
And a liner the other way, down for a base hit. One run is in. Here comes Abreu. He will score as the throw comes in late to second. And in a blink of an eye, this is the way it's been going. The Red Sox lately, they put up 3 quick runs.
Absolutely. And the Red Sox would jump out to that early lead there in the second inning. Can we add to that lead, maybe?
Stings this one. That's back this way.
Ooh, the Killer Bees. Ouch.
A monster shot for Roman Anthony.
Oh, someone's got a pretty bad disease.
Sox on top 5-1. Is
What?
Yeah, monster shot. Frankenstein needs his diabetes medicine.
Don't. No.
You could have got a couple of different...
Frankenstein is a type 2 diabetic.
Hey,
and
look.
Now you're laughing.
Out of all the things he could have done with that, I'll take the Frankenstein. That's
Anthony.
fine.
Red Sox on top 5-1.
There's more things I could have done I'd like to hear.
That's what
I don't really understand. I don't know what you're getting at, but okay.
Go ahead.
I can't think of anything else.
Stings this one.
Sure you can.
That's back this way. Way back. A monster shot.
Wait, about a monster shot?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why are you doing this, Hardy? Why are you trying to?
I've cleared my cobweb. I don't know what else I can say.
I thought maybe you were going to go with that ropes supplement that you're advertising.
Shot, right?
Thank you.
Hey, the rope.
See,
That's a pill.
12 and I were
That's not a
thinking the
shot.
same thing. 12
Yeah, we were thinking the same thing, except you were. Yeah, never mind.
You can't. But that's not a shot. That's a. They didn't sell a shot over the air.
No, but there is a shot.
Oh
that's
yeah.
happening.
That's a stretch. You guys are immature.
But the Frankenstein with diabetes is not.
That's
Not
a
way out of our way to
clever
think of
line.
Kind of like the Yellowstone, Old Faithful.
There's this one. That's back this way.
He said money
Way
shot.
back. A monster shot for.
Oh, now I get it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Peter North.
All right. We got one more home. Actually, 2 more home runs in this game.
Woo!
All right. Let's see. Let's go with this one right here. This is fun. Okay.
That one driven out here. Back our way.
Oh, you drove out of here, and it was a catfish. It's a dude.
That one driven out here.
Oh, you drove all the way out here, and so they had already sold the stew.
Oh my! Romy crushes one.
Just what more can you say?
It's like
about this?
Caligula. Romy crushes one.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know, in
What
Rome.
can you say about this
An
guy
orgy.
and lefties?
All right, you can say that Gonzalez hits him well, and that made it 9-3 Boston. That would be your final as the Red Sox take the first from the Rockies, and unfortunately, Colorado falls to 21-70 on the season. Sox now 2 games above 500.
Wow.
Yeah, games against Colorado don't count.
Neither should games against the Washington Nationals, which
No.
is what they played over the weekend.
No. These are look. It's God bless them. You can only win the game, but let's not pretend that this is some kind of achievement to beat the Colorado Rockies.
They continue to make stupid mistakes. It's just Colorado is just so bad they can't take advantage of it. I know you guys didn't watch, but I'll just describe it quickly. 2 outs, and there's a ground ball to third base. Bases loaded, ground ball to third base. The third baseman's name is Eaton. Nate Eaton. Okay, shouldn't be there, but he is. Ground ball to third. He fields it, and all he has to do is step on third, and the inning is over. Instead, he veers towards the runner that's running from second to third, and then realizes that he can't reach him, stops, looks at first, can't get the guy there either. Everybody's safe and a run scores.
How do you make that kind of mental mistake?
Because the guy shouldn't be out there.
Yeah,
He's
but
a journeyman utility guy. The Red Sox hoard these guys.
Yeah, but you've played baseball your entire life. Like, it's a situational. Even there's not a situation where you wouldn't step on third.
Exactly. And he had
Like,
plenty of time
regardless
to do it.
of outs or anything, it's not even situational baseball. It's just that there's there's guys on first and second. There's a force out to third. If it gets hit, you touch third.
Yep.
Even if it's the lead runner, even if there's, well, I guess if you could try to turn a double. I don't know really what he.
Outs.
No, I know. I'm trying to think if there's an excuse he didn't know the outs.
Yeah. There's no excuse. There's no excuse at all. By the way, it was a 5-1 game at the time. Colorado uses that mistake, to score a run on that play. Next guy singles in another run. So all of a sudden, a 5-1 game is 5-3. And the Sox got out of it and won the game because Colorado's just historically bad. But those mistakes aren't going anywhere. It's just they're hitting now, and that kind of overcomes all the stupid things that they do. I saw Romy Gonzalez try to stretch a double into a triple last week, a highlight of this, on a ball to left field where the play's in front of him, and he still got thrown out trying to stretch a double into a triple. They're still doing dumb things. They're just hitting now. That's all.
By the way, Romy Gonzalez, that is the longest home run at Fenway this year, actually tied with Mike Trout, 454 feet. Mm-hmm. Trout hit his on June 2nd. And Romy Gonzalez's home run last night ties it for the longest homer at Fenway this year.
Wow.
What about, remember a few weeks back, we were talking about them not playing the young players every day, and now they're going to just, bring them along slowly despite the fact that they needed them. Now Roman Anthony is saying it's not the case anymore, and for that he's glad.
Yeah, I mean, credit to AC for, just trotting me out there every day and finding a way to get me in that lineup, lefty, righty, whatever it may be. I think, we're just swinging it well. It's contagious right now. I thought we've been swinging it well for a long time, and it's nice to kind of see everything fall through here. No, we've been game planning really well, and everything's just, it's going great right now. We got to just keep it rolling.
Yeah, you're playing Colorado in the Nationals.
Well, not Romy Gonzalez. Roman Anthony's hitting now. I think he's hitting 350 in the 8 games this month.
You're playing Nationals in Colorado.
Yes, very true. Oh, and we were talking with Tom Caron about Jarren Duran last night. They sat Jarren Duran against a lefty last night. Austin Gomber, he of the 6 ERA and the winless season so far. Oof. They didn't start Jarren Duran. Now he got in later, but again, that's very telling.
It's funny because I heard people on the station flipping out about them trading Duran, and that's like the worst thing ever. You have to trade Duran. You have to. I mean, there's no room. You have to trade him. And he's not a kid. He's 29. Trade him now. His value is already going down as we speak, but I don't understand why anyone would have a problem trading him. You don't have to trade him for prospects. I mean, you can kind of trade him for pitching, or you could trade him for something you could flip eventually. I don't know, but you trade Duran. He was good last year.
Yeah, your future left fielder had 3 hits and a home run last night. That's the guy who should play left field for the next decade.
Yeah, you have a log jam in the outfield, and he's the guy you got to let loose.
By the way, you got another outfielder coming back tomorrow. Masataka Yoshida is coming off the IL tomorrow. So
now at 2 games above 500, and I know they've been beaten up on a couple of bad teams here, but you're supposed to beat the bad teams, and they've been beating them. What do you want them to do deadline wise at this point? Because if you're just playing the law of opposites, the last couple of seasons when the Red Sox did look like they were poised to do something, the front office did next to nothing for them. Now, would you expect them to play the opposite card?
Well, to be careful what you wish for, because according to articles I've read, there's 6 to 8 teams that will be selling in the entire major leagues. And out of those teams, who do you want? I mean, you're talking about teams like the Oakland, Colorado, Nationals, the White Sox, the Pirates. So I don't know who you want off these teams.
I don't want anyone. I would rather they sell. I would rather they do the trade that you were just talking about with Durant.
Well,
they're
gonna trade Durant, but the thing is that if they trade Durant, they're probably gonna have to. They're gonna have to do some things, like they're gonna have to try to re-sign Bregman, and they can make moves. I mean, they can make little moves, but that's why the notion of giving up Devers, which was just this personal thing. But the spinning of it is like, well, now we can do stuff at the deadline. Well, you could have done stuff at the deadline anyway. That's not financially prohibitive to do stuff at the deadline. Well, no, it's not.
I'm just saying this club doesn't want to spend money.
It doesn't. But fine. But you're not. Generally, you're getting a rental, and it's not like that's costing you $100 million. I mean, you're talking about a rental for what? At the most $6 million. Believe me, trade deadline deals, they're done by small market teams.
Sure.
CC Sabathia played for Milwaukee because that's the kind of stuff that small market teams can do.
Yeah.
You can give up assets to rent a player. It doesn't cost you anything. You're not going to extend them. So, first of all, financially, that's not an issue. Second of all, I'm not positive. Second of all, I don't know why you want to give up assets when you just gave up an asset when you could have gotten something in return for that asset by exchanging money, by not giving away the entire contract. If you would have kept some in the contract, you could have gotten something back for him. You got nothing. And then I don't know who you're going to get. There's this whole thing of like all this stuff's going to be available at the trade deadline. Now, if Arizona decides to deal, there's going to be players available, but I'm not sure they have anything that you want. Because you can't take an outfielder, you can't take a third baseman, you can't take a shortstop. You could take a first baseman or pitching, right?
Yeah.
So
those are the obvious areas of need.
Yeah, so I don't really understand what you think they're going to do. Like they're going to get a high-end starter, or they're going to get a star first baseman? I don't know. Is there a star first baseman on any of those teams I just mentioned?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm looking at it. The obvious candidates, Colorado, Washington, Pittsburgh. There's talk Atlanta may sell this year because they haven't done very well. They're 9.5 games out of the wild card. They're 11 games under 500. Miami's always a seller. White Sox, Athletics. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. So
that's like 7 teams.
Right. It was 6 to 8 teams that would be selling. So so the competition, there's going to be a lot of teams in line in front of you that are willing to do more. And so how much are you willing to give up to get better for half a season?
Yeah.
You can't really sell.
No.
And when you trade Duran, you're going to have to make like minor deals to improve just for PR's sake, I would imagine. But nothing substantial, certainly not anything in the realm of Devers is going to be traded or acquired. No, it's just nonsense. So I don't really know. That was all annoying to me.
Well, it's still going to be annoying when Craig Breslow tells the media, it takes 2 teams to trade. We tried. We were out there. We could only make these 2-3 minor moves, which we think will help the team down the road. I mean, I can almost write this for you.
Yeah, but the thing is that at that point, he's kind of right because you put yourself in a position where you're not going to be able to get anyone.
I know.
If they didn't trade Devers, then you can't complain about them not going crazy at the deadline because there's no one to get. Who would you honestly? Is there anyone from Colorado or Chicago you'd want? Chicago White Sox, especially. Is there because this exercise was done before the season, and there was debate that there would be no one from the White Sox that you would want.
There isn't. There isn't anyone. We got the guy I would want from the White Sox.
Yeah, exactly. You got Crochet. So is there like literally anyone on that roster that you would want? Now, I don't know about their like fourth starter or like their depth pieces in bullpen, but is there anyone you'd want off that team? Then do the exercise if Colorado's so bad. You watched the game last night, John.
Yeah.
You tell me. I don't know.
No,
I can't imagine there's very, very many players on Colorado that you want. Are there players on the Athletics that you want? That you could use. Again, this is, and then you're competing against teams that have a World Series shot. Like you're competing against the Cubs, Who do you think? Who should give up more? The Red Sox or the Cubs in a deadline deal? The Cubs by 1 million. They have a chance to win the World Series.
There are pieces now that you're talking. I'm just happy to be looking. The Athletics do have pieces that you'd want, but it's also young talent that
they're probably not going to give up.
To. Right. Same thing with Colorado. The first two hitters in their lineup are very good, but they're young guys that you want to keep. The leadoff hitter, I think, is hitting 340. But again, more to your point, there isn't like an aircraft carrier bat that you could bring in here. If you look at all of these teams, those teams are willing to deal because they're going to build around those guys.
Exactly. Okay, and then one more thing. Did you hear the story about Oakland that owner's a dead man walking because he got himself into a deal that he can't follow through on, so someone's going to have to sweep in?
Of course.
And that they're most likely not going to play in Vegas?
Of course. That's why.
But now they're saying most likely they're not going to play in Vegas. So this guy is such an incompetent businessman that he moved that team with nowhere to go. He's going to have to give the team up. Manfred let it happen. And now there's a very good chance that they don't play in Vegas.
Right. Good for I keep telling you guys this. The reason Sacramento took the team is because they know they're not going anywhere. They're going to stay there.
Well,
Sacramento wanted the team because they wanted the team.
Sacramento. Oof. By the way, What Happened Last Night is brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened. So change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lopresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. We'll be right back. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox won their fourth in a row last night, 9-3 over Colorado at Fenway Park. Roman Anthony, 3 hits, including a 2-run homer. 2 teams will go again at Fenway tonight. In Celtics news, their trade with Portland involving Drew Holiday has been altered a little bit. Something showed up on Holiday's medicals, so now it's a straight-up 1-for-1 deal for Anthony Simons, and it doesn't include a pair of second-round draft picks. Also, Boston Globe is reporting Al Horford's not close to deciding his future at the moment. Retirement is a possibility, and Orlando has signed Paolo Banchero to a 5-year max rookie extension worth north of $239 million. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your drive-through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
Why do people listen to Toucher and Hardy?
Because it's a thing.
All right.
You know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
No idea what you're talking about.
Here's more of The Thing on the Sports Hub.
Pocket. I'm guessing some of that is leveraged. I'm guessing he has loans out like we all do to buy things. He didn't write a check for $500 million, or he's not going to get just a huge windfall of cash if he were to sell that team. It's like, no,
an MLS team can't be worth $500 million. There's no way.
And even if he does, it's still going to leave him hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars short. And one analyst looked at it and he said, I don't know what the end game is, whether he miscalculated, doesn't understand, doesn't care about money, or there's something I'm just totally missing in all of this. That is a sports financial analyst who looks at these deals on teams and stadiums all the time. And he's like, I don't know. I don't know where he goes from here. I don't know how they make this work. And the article points out the fact that this is what we've been saying all along. Who's to say once you build this thing, you're going to be able to fill it 81 times a year, A, in that town, which has no connection to the team, and B, for what is almost certainly going to be a bad baseball team. So what's your end game?
Well, beyond that is the town doesn't want it.
Well, yeah, in addition to that, the town has no connection to it, and the locals know better than to try and go down to the Strip in the middle of summer and park somewhere and try and walk their way over to that place. It's horrific.
And you moved out of Oakland before you had anything in place. You moved out of Oakland, and now you're in this purgatory. You have players that are they have players who are actively tanking because they won out of Oakland. They're trying to get rid of guys because they're saying the guy that they gave the biggest free agent contract to in A's history,
Severino, right?
Severino is trying to talk his way off that team, and they're going to have to trade him for pennies on the dollar. It was a disaster. It's a disaster.
Still is, yeah.
You can't work out. You can't go and take like swings or anything out if you're in the dugout because you have to walk into another facility to go take swings. Like during the court, even Fenway, old ass Fenway, they can just leave the dugout and back and go take swings inside. Like you can't even do that in Sacramento. It's a minor league park. It's a disaster. I can't, and more than even the idiot owner of the A's, it's really Rob Manfred that I don't understand why he allowed any of this to happen. They didn't look at the financials of it. They didn't look at the town. I mean, the mayor of the town, and I know that she's not really in position to make any decisions, was like, no, we don't want this. That would have been a red flag.
Yeah.
That there's no way that it's going to work in Vegas would be another red flag. And you're moving out of Oakland before that you've put one brick down of the stadium that you're supposed to be moving into. That's a red flag. All of it shouldn't have been able to happen. They should have made him sell the team. I don't know why they didn't make the sell. I really don't know why they didn't just go sell the team. If you can't handle it, sell the team. Well, they didn't want to be in Oakland anymore. All right, well then have a plan and break ground on it and have make it happen that this is the date it's happening. And before you start playing in a minor league stadium like some JV league, some awful third-rate league, Sacramento. First of all, the town of Sacramento is ridiculous. And second of all, you're asking major league players to play in a minor league park. It's cute for, 10 games. And then it's time to move on.
The carrot dangling at the end of this stick is all the other towns that could sweep in and a new owner could emerge that could move the team to Salt Lake City, Nashville.
Yeah, Nashville's one.
It should have been Nashville all along.
Yeah. Austin.
I think Austin's headed today. Austin seems to be that's a town that's headed today. But Nashville supports a team already.
Yep.
There's no reason they can't have one. They'd have to build an enclosed stadium, but they can handle a Major League Baseball team. I believe Nashville could because I think people would even travel to Nashville.
They put together a committee about a decade ago trying to pitch Major League Baseball to get them a franchise. I mean, they're ready to go. They're ready to go.
Certainly better than Sacramento. Sacramento's a bigger city than you'd think, but it's still
it's not great.
no.
One final bit of news: the Orlando Magic said, "Paolo, honey, stay in Florida."
President of basketball operations Jeff Weltman told us back in May that the Magic were entering this win now era, right? Because it's not an over-exaggeration when I say this. Banchero is Orlando's foundation, and this deal reflects
That's
that.
that's not an exaggeration. Whoa.
5 years, $239 million with added incentives that could see Banchero make up to $287 million over the next 5 years.
You stink. What's funny about that, stupid?
Maybe just that Paolo Banchero's getting the contract that could be worth $290 million.
Why? Because he was the number 1 overall pick in the draft. I mean, wow! What ludicrous!
He's been an all-star. He's pretty good.
Like, why are you chuckling to yourself? What's so crazy about that? He's not the highest paid guy in the NBA. What? It's not crazy to say that their best player by far is the foundation of this team. I mean, allow me to come on and give my expert analysis. That the guy they took number 1 in the draft that's delivered, that he's going to get a contract.
Yeah.
Wow. One can only chuckle to oneself, Eddie Trunk. All right. Skip Bayless he has a lot of white guilt, apparently. I haven't heard this clip, but apparently he has nothing but white guilt. He saw a movie. It makes him feel guilty about being white. And we will hear all about that in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, it's
Hub Headline, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox scored a 9-3 win over Colorado at Fenway Park last night in the opener of a 3-game series. Roman Anthony hit a 2-run homer, and Romy Gonzalez added a 454-foot solo shot as well.
I know I hit it really well. I didn't think it was going to get that far, but yeah, I mean, I kind of put my head down and ran. I didn't want to pimp it or anything, but yeah, it was squared it up for sure.
Ceddanne Rafaela also homered for a third straight game, and Richard Fitz allowed 3 runs in 5 2/3 innings to earn his first ever Major League victory. Sox have won 4 in a row. They're 2 games out of a playoff spot. They will host the Rockies again tonight. NBA trades and signings are being formally announced this week, and the Celtics had their Drew Holiday trade changed a little bit. The Oregonian was the first to report yesterday that because something minor showed up on Holiday's medical reports, the trade with Portland for Anthony Simons was straight up and did not include a pair of second-round draft picks. The Boston Globe is reporting Al Horford continues to consider retirement. He's not close to a decision. Orlando has re-signed All-Star Paolo Banchero to a 5-year rookie max extension worth at least $239 million. And the Phoenix Suns will reportedly buy out the remainder of Bradley Beal's contract as soon as today. The Suns have also reportedly signed Devin Booker to a 2-year, $150 million contract extension. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning. With over 50 trucks on the road because your clogged drain is their emergency, go to johnsewer.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today.
Toucher and Hardy.
Such an fantastic explosion.
98.5 The Sports.
Call me what? All right, so there you go. That's no offense. And the reason that Adam is playing this, I would suppose, is that Skip Bayless, who is around now, he does, I don't know if this is what it's from. I haven't heard this, but it's from, I know he does a thing with his wife. I don't know if it's a podcast because it's on video, and they just seem to be sitting on a couch. You saw this before when they talked about how if they had a list of people they could bang outside of their marriage where it would be allowed. And Skip Bayless's wife was like, I've had this.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, I've already done this.
Yeah.
And Skip Bayless said Marie Osmond, which based on the shape he's in, you figure he could get Marie Osmond easily.
Sure.
If she's available. But Skip Bayless, now the movie Sinners, it's a Michael B. Jordan movie. I know it was out in theaters. It was fairly successful. Now, I didn't see it. I usually go to the movies with my daughter. I didn't see it because she doesn't like the horror movies, and this at least had the description of a horror movie.
It's rather sexual, too.
Oh, yeah, well, that's uncomfortable, so I'm glad I didn't do that. So you saw it.
I did. I watched it over the weekend.
Now, did you feel like did you feel about 2 feet tall when it was over?
Oh, my goodness. I just curled up in a fetal position on the couch. I couldn't take it anymore. No. There's nothing to feel guilty about. It's mostly a vampire movie. It is 99% a vampire movie.
Is it like Vampire in Brooklyn? It's a black vampire movie?
Yes, the Eddie Murphy vehicle.
Yes.
I believe you're referring to.
Yeah.
I would say a cross between that and Blackula.
Okay. I never actually saw Blackula.
No, there are obvious. It's set in the 1920s or 30s in the Deep South. So yes, there are many racial overtones and nuances to the film, and yes, the KKK is involved. But again, at its core, it is a vampire movie. The setting has to lead one to think, yeah, there are racial elements to it, but it is not the main takeaway of the movie by any means.
Now, John, you haven't seen this, obviously, because when it comes to KKK movies, you think that they've reached the zenith with Birth of a Nation. The first talkie, which featured the KKK as heroes. John has always spoke very highly about that.
Well, he had to watch
once he turned his back on Camp Young Judea, he became a fan of vintage white supremacy films.
I see. All right. Back when John was in school, they would just show that as an educational film.
Well, you know, the president, who was the president at the time? You tell me. But
Taft?
No. It was the guy with the long
Coolidge?
face. No, it was before
Woodrow
that.
Wilson.
Before that.
Woodrow Wilson.
Woodrow Wilson. They had a premiere at the White House. They showed it at the White House. Because if you don't know, Birth of the Nation, I believe was the first film with, maybe the first film with talking in it, but I don't think there was talking in it. Maybe it was the first.
Was the jazz singer.
There was. It was the first film of some kind.
Silent epic drama film. All right, so it's a silent movie.
Okay, yeah.
Lauded for its technical virtuosity. First 12 reel film ever made.
That's it. That's what I was thinking.
Of course.
It was the first 12 reel film I
Thanks,
ever
Hardy.
made.
That was great.
Well, no, I mean,
12
he's
reels.
just reading the Wikipedia.
Okay.
I'm trying to save you here. I don't know.
He is actively trying to save
You did get the White House part right. It was the first film to be shown in the White House, which is
you know what? That rings a bell. Like the first
yeah.
time they showed a movie in the White House, it was that one.
Well, but I thought they didn't show it because of the content necessarily, as of the technical achievements of it. But nonetheless, look, we can all agree that it would be unheard of for that to happen now.
The first public showing of the film, which was then called The Klansman, was in 1915.
Oh, boy. So Taft might have been president at that time.
No, it was Woodrow Wilson. We've been over this. All right, so here we go. This is Skip Bayless talking. I mean, geez, if we want to get into a Mad Dog-esque talk of presidencies,
It's okay.
we can.
I'm good.
You know, Taft, you're getting the years mixed up.
Taft, he's a big fat boy.
Stuck in a bathtub.
Facts are fact.
They got a bunker named after him at the golf course. I mean, the Fat Man, another Fat Man. We played that course.
He had the Fat Man on for an hour yesterday because the Fat Man had a very bad time getting to and from Edinburgh from on JetBlue.
They flew to Scotland on JetBlue?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know you could do that.
Neither did I, but he had a lot to say about it.
There is, I swear, I'm not using this as a platform to talk about golf. There is a golf course up on the North Shore that has been around for a long, long time, Myopia, and there is a sand trap there for the brutes out there that is called the Taft Bunker, and it's called that because President Taft was playing on this course, and it was almost like a pot bunker. He got down in there, and he was so fat and feeble that he couldn't get out, so they had to go back to one of the maintenance sheds, get a rope, throw it down to him. Ugh. He had to tie it around himself, and they had to pull him out of the bunker like that, and has ever since then been called the Taft Bunker.
Huh.
Do you believe that story?
I do.
Okay. You'd have to be awful fat.
I believe all golf stories.
Well, they also have, strangely enough, the David Duke center at the turn. All right, here we go. This is
took that down.
Skip Bayless talking about. Well, they you know what they did is they caved into public pressure. All right, so here is Skip Bayless talking about the movie Sinners.
Okay, allow me a couple of minutes to talk about Ryan Coogler's movie Sinners. I missed it in the theater because of the NBA playoffs, which are the most grueling stretch of the year for me.
It is. First of all, you're not excused for not seeing it in the theater. And we all are aware of the grueling stretch it is for you, the NBA playoffs. All right.
I'm still exhausted.
I mean, I got to sit on this couch with this camera phone in front of me. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on me.
I love Sinners because of the brilliant melding of two very different genres, the plight of black people in 1932 Mississippi and vampires? Wait, vampires river dancing? Not once did I think this is silly or this is hokey. Didn't have time to doubt it because Sinners just grabs you by the...
He's reading. God, Jesus, why are you reading? Why'd you write all this out? It's not particularly clever. Oh, just talk. It's such a sign of stupidity that you got to write things out. He's writing it out with pauses, and it's just... Why can't you just talk off the top of your head? So you stammer and you repeat things. At least it sounds natural. Oof.
Not once did I think this is silly or this is hokey. Didn't have time to doubt it because Sinners just grabs you by the throat that will probably get bitten. And I get to see Michael B. Jordan blow away, 40 or 50 Klansmen, including the big, fat, tobacco-spitting leader. Just breakthrough filmmaking.
Well, that pretty much explains it. I mean, you had Michael B. Jordan shoot a fat guy, breakthrough. Usually it's the skinny guys that get blown away right away.
And, I'm like the best / worst movie watcher because I don't pick up on all the nuances and metaphors and symbolism. Just tell me a story, right? So, yeah, there's obvious the racial stuff going on here, but maybe I'm a simpleton. I thought of it mostly as a vampire movie. I understand the other, messages they're trying to get across, but
it's not subtle.
It's
an all-black cast with the Klan being the enemy. It's not. I don't think that it's a trick of cinematography or something. There's a repeated number throughout. I mean, it's something that's fairly obvious. Black cast,
it's not
Old West movie.
It's not the
Klan
Godfather.
enemy.
Whenever an orange or a piece of citrus shows up, someone's going to die.
Yeah.
No, it's
not a Kubrick film where you got to have a Harvard class for 6 months to figure out what's going on.
Right.
I mean, I haven't seen the film. I saw the movie poster. I haven't even seen the trailer. I had a feeling when it was an Old West film with black and all black cast that there would be a bit of a racial overtone to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I must admit, when Sinners ended, I felt battered.
Just like at the end of Goonies. Emotionally drained.
Battered?
Just like after Mannequin. I mean, what is love? I mean, do I really have it with this broad that's talking about banging guys that were famous?
Bludgeoned and battered by white guilt. Sinners has no use for white people, nor should it. Evil, devious white people tricked black people.
I like how it's finally, the plight of the black man has finally hit him after seeing Sinners. He's an 80-year-old man, and finally, because he didn't live through anything like, the Selma, Alabama, or anything like that. He lived in an era where, there seemed to be some racial tension.
Yeah, he was born in 1951.
Yeah.
So you've been probably...
Yeah, he kicked it around
Oklahoma, as Ryan pointed out. I mean, wasn't that the whole, the Black Wall Street story in the 1920s there?
I don't know.
In Tulsa?
I was unaware that there was a black person in Oklahoma at that period of time. He did have enough, though, to lie about his high school basketball career.
And sucked their blood and turned them into something they weren't meant to be. The evil white vampires wrecked the juke joint life that the black people were building thanks to the money provided by the twin brothers. Who's the first member?
What is he doing? Who are the twin brothers? What's he talking about? I don't need an answer for it. I'm just saying, we're supposed to know. Is this?
This is
like a book club.
This is an atypical movie review. This is not your standard.
Oh, come on.
But applaud the writers and producers of Sinners for finally getting through to Skip Bayless that there has been some racial strife.
Who's the first member of the black community to defy and betray the brothers? Well, it's the woman played by Mrs. Josh Allen Haley Steinfeld, who appears in Sinners to be, I think, biracial. She obviously has some white blood, which obviously prevails, and leads her and in turn the black community to ruin. So if you followed my career at all.
Oh, now he's going to bring it home. Now we're going to see the connection.
Yeah, let's guide this thing
right
in.
Here.
They tried to push, I carried Shannon Sharp for all those years. And he's black. That wasn't so easy. I had a black guy on the TV with me at a sports network. Unheard of.
If you followed my career at all, you probably know I've fought with all my might against racial injustice in this country.
It is true.
All your might.
If you followed his career.
He has?
He's been on the front lines.
Yes, these poor blacks If there was only a couple more Skip Baylesses in the world, finally these blacks could get it together.
Thank God I was there. Thank God.
I mean, Skip Bayless, I mean, if you followed his career, I mean, this guy loves blacks. I mean, he really
Some
does.
of his best friends.
Yeah. Yeah. He travels with blacks and everything. His kids go to school with a couple of them. It's a whole thing.
Sat down in a restaurant with several black people.
Wow.
Broke bread.
Took a meal with them.
Now, listen, do you wash your hands a few times? Of course. But listen, it's the symbolism of the gesture. I like it. He saw
sit with your back to the door, but still, you sit at the table.
In this
He's
review,
not crazy.
And by the way, this review of a movie with a black cast, this proves his immersion in the culture. That this is somehow struck him as such a unique thing.
Bludgeoned and battered by white guilt.
Yeah, this isn't Sidney Poitier in 1964. This is what is that? The Come Home for the Dinner movie, whatever. What was the?
Guess
who's coming to dinner? Like that. That I understand. You saw.
My soul aches when I have to watch what white people did to black people in the Deep South in the 1930s.
This is a vampire movie.
Yeah, this is not a historical review, Skip. This is a vampire horror film.
It's not a documentary.
Jesus Christ, are you ignorant? 70-something years old. This is what you've taken away from your lifetime?
Okay.
I do appreciate when people say, if you followed my career, you know.
Yeah.
I love blacks. I mean, if you take anything away, that's what the thing is. Because it speaks of your how diverse your friend group is.
I don't know how to fix it. Obviously, I can't fix it. And after a while, it's just hard to watch.
Yeah, after a while, you just give up. You start doing it yourself.
Join the club. Can't beat them, join them.
Yeah. I mean, after a while, you're just like, what's the point? Seems to be some money to be made by, my kid's got to get into college.
For me, it's hard to watch. I didn't participate in it. I didn't contribute to it.
Huh?
I don't know what it's talking
What, the
about.
Old West?
No, that's Deep South.
No, he was not involved. He's free of this. A lot of people have accused him of being involved in 1920s racism.
Well, a lot of people have said, because they don't know that he was born in 51, they said Skip Bayless was one of the original white vampires in the Deep South of Mississippi in the 1930s, and that's just untrue.
Well,
he did not participate in that.
Well, I heard he was going to sue X because there was a rumor going out that he started the Civil War, Confederate side.
Yes.
When he fought for the Union Army, and very proudly.
I didn't participate in it. I didn't contribute to it, yet I still feel so deeply guilty about it.
Whoa, Skip, you feel too much. That's the problem with being an artist, is that your empathy runs so deep that when you see finally the plight of the black man, when it's finally presented to you in your 70s and you have to look face to face at it.
Via a vampire movie.
Yeah.
How far are we from that?
Well, it's like when I saw 2001: A Space Odyssey and I realized these gays really got it bad. Not easy.
My soul aches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't.
It was when I first saw Weekend at Bernie's, and I went, these Asians don't got it so easy. They were treated poorly around here during World War II.
Because of the color of my skin. Sinners just ultimately beat me over the head with that guilt.
Oh, well, Skip, I, for one, I can only hope I can reach the levels of empathy and depth that you have.
Welcome to the hottest new show going right now.
Well, Ryan, you were right.
Exactly.
This is he's an idiot. So there you go. And the best thing was he sees the audience giving him a slow clap at the end of that. This guy gets it.
Yeah.
Like you know, his hope upon hope is that one of the cast members, the black cast members of the movie, will see that review and go, "That's why we made it."
Yeah, that guy.
That's why we made it.
Yeah, he's all wrung out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's exerted every last bit of his strength to get through this.
Yeah, to get through the movie, the horror movie, the vampire movie. Boys.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. I'm going to read my 2-minute review of Sinners. Here we go. This is very difficult for me to do. All right, well, there you have it. There are heroes still left. All right, Jim McBride is a hero. He will talk to us about what exactly the stupid Bruins are doing. It seems very odd that they're giving long-term deals to very mediocre, if not below mediocre players. We will figure that out with him. The exercise coming right up.
You're listening. Sports Hub.
I think we've always been a team since I've been here that prides ourselves in that, and that's defensive structure I talked about. We were, at times last year, even when we had our group, we were an easy out, and I can't stand for that.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Jim McBride is the beat writer and reporter for the Bruins at the Boston Globe. He's been there for a long time. Hello, Jim. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning, Fred. How are you?
I am well. Thank you very much. We were gone last week, so we are just walking into what the Bruins have been doing, draft and otherwise. Start with the draft. The kid they took, everyone seems to be universally they like him. There was a chance he was going to be the number one pick in the draft before the season started. So let's start with a positive. It seems like universally that's agreed to be kind of a hit. You never know, but as drafts go, that's a good pick.
Yeah, I think they got pretty fortunate that James Hagan slipped to them at number 7. Really good player, very smart, good vision, skates really well. And you could tell just watching him at development camp last week. He's a very slick player. So he puts a little weight on this year at BC, and I think the Bruins have themselves a player.
All right, now let's move on to the other stuff. All right, so the Bruins needed 5 forwards basically, and now if that's kids and a mixture, but they needed to get forwards. So let's get that out of the way. They needed bodies. But they did give longer-term contracts to some guys that with historically very limited offensive games. What were your thoughts on the players? If you want to get specific about a couple of them, go ahead.
Yeah, so I certainly understand where Don Sweeney was coming from when he said, they needed to be a harder out on a nightly basis. Because if you watch this team consistently last year, too often they were too passive. So I understood that. Another problem last year was goal scoring. I'm not sure they addressed that, other than the trade for Victor Arvidsson, who has been a goal scorer in this league, but he's coming off a down year, and I think it might be a little bit of a pipe dream to think he can come in and just totally remake that power play, even though that's been a specialty in his career. So I thought some of the signings like Tanner Jeannot, a good signing. I don't know if the term and the money were necessarily good. I mean, they gave Tanner Jeannot 5 years. Tough kid, but not a goal scorer, as you mentioned, and a guy that's had some history of injuries, which usually you don't give long-term contracts to guys that are only averaging about 60 games a year because of injuries. So I thought that was kind of a surprise term and money, but not a surprise target.
Okay, so Jim, just let me jump in here on Tanner Jeannot specifically, because you say you think it was a good signing, and maybe the term and the money doesn't necessarily make sense. That's a huge component as to whether or not
doesn't that make it a bad signing?
It's a good signing, but I would say just on its face, if all you're looking to do is to make it more uncomfortable for teams to beat you, I don't know if that's a great strategy for the Bruins to have.
They just tried that last year.
Yeah, and okay, so Tanner Jeannot will be in there, and he's going to bloody a couple of guys in the course of a 5-1 loss. But, they're going to feel bad about it afterward. If he's not going to score goals and you're not going to help yourself on that front, what good does Tanner Jeannot really do you other than making it a little more painful for the teams that are going to beat you now?
Yeah, I think their philosophy is that him along with Mikey Esamont can create room for the younger players and the faster players and the guys that do score. I'm not sure that's the case, but I think that's their philosophy going in, that these guys are not just going to provide muscle, but they're going to provide space for the other guys and allow them to be creative in the offensive end. I don't know that I necessarily said it was a good signing. I said I was a good target, but I don't know. As I mentioned, the years and the money, I just didn't see that coming.
I'll replay the tape. You said no, I don't.
Yeah.
I also read that there were a lot of teams in on him, but I wonder if these other teams already have if not an embarrassment of riches at the goal scoring positions, but there are different teams with different needs. And I firmly believe there are teams that wanted specifically what Tanner Jeannot can bring to the team. I just don't know that the Bruins need that right now.
Yeah, and that certainly is what drove up his price, right? And in the term of his contract, that other teams were, pursuing him, but it just didn't seem like there was a ton of options out there either. I mean, probably the biggest name was Mitch Marner, and he was taken off the market the day before when he was traded. So I think, despite the fact that they had good salary cap space, there just wasn't a lot of guys that were available for them. I mean, I think the biggest name out there was Nikolai Ehlers, and he waited, and there were certainly a lot of guys that were waiting around to see, or a lot of teams waiting around to see what he was going to do. But I think if the Bruins felt like they couldn't sign him, they were going to be in a bunch of teams that were looking for guys like Tanner Jeannot, and maybe that drove up the price.
Bruins added a lot of sandpaper to the bottom six, but I keep coming back to the offense, and you touched on it when you first came on. Who are the offensive threats on this team short of Pastrnak and Geekie, really?
Yeah, there's not a lot. to be honest with you, John. It's just I think they're hoping that maybe Matt Poitras, maybe Fraser Minton, some of these younger players can take a step up this camp and make an impact for them, and maybe even James Hagens at the end of the year if they're in a position to take him after the BC season ends. But I know they've shied away from the word rebuild this year, but it does feel like that. I guess, Victor Arvidsson, maybe I mentioned him earlier, maybe he has a bounce back year. He signed a 2-year deal with Edmonton. Didn't really work out for him in Edmonton, which was why he was available. And that took a chunk of the salary cap too, because that's $4 million. And we'll see if he can fit in. And, I know he played in LA with Marco Sturm, and I'm sure Marco had some input on trading for him. And maybe that fresh start is what they need. But there seems to be more ifs than solid solutions right now heading into the summer.
It's so, I don't know anything about drafting and developing NHL players. They seem like little kids when they get taken. It seems like, but I'd have to imagine finding a kid with big offensive upside is entirely more difficult than just finding a big body. Like when you go out and you give long-term deals to big-bodied players, like specifically for the toughness of their game, how unique of a characteristic is that, and how difficult is that to find? Like, do you have to scoop these guys up in free agency because they're hard to acquire either anyway? Like, how rare a thing is that in the NHL?
I think to consistently do it night in and night out, it's pretty rare. But that was one of the big concerns I had, was the fact that Tanner Jeannot's never played an 82-game season. And a lot of that's because of his physical style, right? He gets in the corners, he hits people, he gets hit, he takes that abuse, and that's going to lead to injuries. So, that was a big question mark, signing a guy to 5 years when I think I did the math. He averages like 59 games a year. So it is tough to be consistently tough like that, night in and night out. And to your point earlier about drafting and developing offensive scorers, it's hard to predict it, because so many of these kids light up juniors and have huge careers in college and at the minor league level, and it just doesn't translate to the NHL. And maybe they're hoping guys like Tanner Jeannot are the reason why some of these kids that put up huge numbers kind of fall flat at the NHL level.
Okay, and when you look at this Bruins team next year, on paper, what are your expectations, and what's the window? I was thinking about it yesterday. being in town 2006, they sucked. And 2008, 2007, 2006 or 2007, they make some free agent signings. Then the kids start coming up that they drafted and developed. What's the timeline like for you? What do you think next year, and then moving forward, what's the timeline?
Yeah, I think they'll struggle to make the playoffs this year. They have to hope that Elias Lindholm has a much better year. Certainly, he showed flashes at the end of last season, but nothing compared to what they were hoping for out of him. So I think they'll be struggling to make the playoffs. They'll be in that that mid bunch in the East, hoping to grab a wild card spot. But and then I think it gets better because some of these younger players should be ready to at least start contributing at that point. I think Fraser Minton, Hagens, Matt Poitras, who showed flashes last year, but was really one of those guys that couldn't find space at the NHL level, even though he was, had a very successful junior career. So I think it's going to be another struggle this year, but I think moving forward, better.
Okay. All right. Well, Jim McBride, thank you for staying on top of these things. And when they do something else, if they do something else, we look forward to having you on. If not, we'll talk to you when the camp starts and everything else. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, guys. Have a great summer.
All right, there you go. Jim McBride from the Boston Globe. Jim McBride from the Boston Globe. I guess it seems like a good way to make money if you're just got to be 6'2", 220 and take some punishment. It seems like a pretty good exchange to make. I don't know why it's so difficult to find guys that are 6'2", 220. That's not like a freakish size. I guess it's harder to skate at that size, but then just be able to take punishment. I mean, there's guys that are terrible MMA fighters that do it for a lot less.
Yeah, there's something else about his game that made him a target, and as Jim said, that drove up the price on him. So if you identify him as the guy, which still opening up space for the younger guys to be able to score, okay, it's a nice idea. I'd rather just look for guys that can score, and I understand the difficulty in that. But there had to have been a number of teams, like he said, that were after him, that drove the price up. And if you land on him, he's the guy you want, you ended up having to pay for him. It just doesn't seem like a way to win a bunch more games.
All right.
I don't see that coming to fruition.
No. And Tanner Janot has a annoying mustache, too, which is going to have to be talked about. This whole mustache resurgence, I don't know if I can buy into it. I had one. In 2007. Yeah. 2006, 2007, I had a mustache, handlebar style, because I accepted my face, and I knew I was going to have to do something quirky. But then I even gave up on that, because then every bartender started looking like they were in Mumford & Sons. You'd go to Corktown in Detroit, and there's these guys like with curly Q mustaches. Oh, yeah. And you'd order a drink, and it would take them an hour and a half to make it, because they had 17... like sauce bottles.
Oh, they're doing the muddling.
Yeah, just like, Jesus Christ, make a drink. Pour liquor in the glass. This is a big exercise to get very little done. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox have won 7 of their last 9, and that includes 4 straight. They beat Colorado 9-3 last night in Game 1 of a 3-game series. The two teams are back at it tonight. NBA news, Celtics had a small surprise yesterday. The Oregonian first to report that because something minor showed up on Drew Holiday's medical reports, the trade with Portland for Anthony Simons is now straight up and does not include a pair of second-round draft picks. The Boston Globe is reporting Al Horford continues to consider retirement. He's not close to a decision. And big news in the NBA, Orlando yesterday re-signed All-Star Paolo Banchero to a 5-year rookie max extension worth at least $239 million. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the New England Revolution. New England's biggest sporting event of the summer is almost here. Get your tickets to the massive showdown when the New England Revolution and superstar Carlos Gil host Inter Miami CF and Lionel Messi. It's tomorrow night. New seats have been released. Get yours now at revolutionsoccer.net. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8 o'clock.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Clogged drain never happens.
If your alarm clock sounds like this, this is the show for you. Toucher and Hardy, the Sports Hub.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, it didn't change today. So today at 12:45, I leave for Taunton.
Oh.
Quick drive.
And that's a 2:45 game.
Okay.
And then at 4:45, I leave Taunton. And then
to go where?
To go to the Garden for Tyler, the Creator.
Oh, boy.
You're going home from Taunton.
Yeah, I'm going to go home from Taunton. I won't drive to the Garden.
No.
So I'll take a lift to the because I can't get on Uber. I don't know why. I wasn't kicked off. It's something software wise or software. It's something's wrong with my account. I under no circumstances to my knowledge got kicked off of Uber. But they're like, contact us. They're like, there's been a problem. Contact us. And I'm like, well, no, I don't want to contact you. It doesn't mean that much to me. But so yeah, I got to drive. So Taunton South.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
it's real south.
So what time's the show at the Garden?
Well, the problem with going with your daughter to a show is that it's not so much the show; it's half the show and half the merch.
Yeah.
So you got to get there in time for the merch, which I've put it on Instagram before. The lines like at Kendrick Lamar and SZA. Now they were incredibly well run. Like 20 people taking orders, and it was all by letter, and it was, you got up there, you had to know what was going on. But they deliberately sell out. Like, so there's supposed to be this kind of exclusivity to the merchandise, so you have to get there by a certain hour. So I would imagine I would want to get to the venue by 7 because Lil Uzi is opening. So you got to get Lil Uzi. You got to get in there for Lil Uzi. I believe Lil Uzi's opening. I'm not positive. Now, Tyler, the Creator, I like Odd Future. So, like, I don't mind going to the show. I don't mind going to any of these shows. If my daughter likes it, I don't mind. It's kind of funny to see her get all excited. But so 4:45 from Taunton.
Taunton is south of 495 on Route 24, if I remember right.
All right there, Maps.
I'm just saying it's a long
I'm going to call you the
drive
yes. All right. So yeah, right. So right now it's 45 minutes. So I'm figuring at 4:45 it's like an hour and 15 minutes. That gets me back to my house at 6. I've told my mother. I told my daughter to be, because Stephanie's going to take her to that game, because I can't have her on her own and then me have to get back to the house and her not be ready. So I need her to be supervised and ready, and then my ex-wife to take her to the game because she's going to the game too, but later to take her to the game and have her dressed and with makeup on because she's got a whole situation for the show that has to happen. And I can't have that loose end. Because if I get back after sitting in the car for an hour and 15 minutes, coming back and having sat at that field for 3-4 hours, I'm going to be fit to be tied if she's not ready. So, like, I need her ready and in my presence by the time I leave that field. She has to be in my presence during that entire time, or there's too much that can go sideways if that's not the case.
How long is the game?
So the game's at 2:45.
Okay.
We got to leave at 12:45. He's got to be, believe me, he's got bands.
Oh yeah,
there's a whole thing. He's got to take Advil. There's a whole thing that he's got to do. He's got everything under the sun. He's got to touch
the
his
greenies
toes
or the Reds before the game? I think it's the Reds before the game.
Greenies are the speed, right?
Yeah, I thought greenies before the game.
Yeah, ball forward's greenies.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, green. So the bands, the Advil, the greenies.
Yeah, he takes the greenies, and then he's going to have to come down after. So then he'll take something else, the blues. But so it's 12:45. The game is at 2:45, and then you figure I got to leave there at 4:45. I don't know if the game will be over or not, but I got to leave there at 4:45 regardless. and then I'm gonna take her. Then we go home. I gotta let the dog out and everything, and then we'll leave from there.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably be home about 11:30 from the concert, and getting a lift out of there will be no problem. So there you go. That is my day.
Hardy, what are the odds he makes it there for the beginning of the concert?
Oh, no. They'll be there in plenty of time for the merch. It's not the beginning of the concert.
Okay.
It's the merch. Yeah, and you gotta be there in time for the merch at 7. I think it's all entirely possible. I'm just selfishly thinking about what mood you're going to be in tomorrow morning and how that's going to affect me.
I don't know if I'll be in a negative mood. I'll just be tired.
Right. But sometimes that makes you cranky.
Irritable. Yeah, that was the word I was thinking of.
Yeah. Well, irritable to people with a lot of energy when we have the pre-show meeting. I'll be irritable about that. But I usually block that out.
Everyone looked at 12. Everybody.
Why don't you
Guilty as charged.
Take it down about 22% tomorrow morning.
Okay.
In that pre-show.
I'll dial it back.
Yeah, I don't like the energy sometimes. I mean, maybe it's necessary. It sets a tone.
Let me tell you something. Normally, I would say, why don't you just, find someone else, take care of the dog, and go straight from the field to the game. But that's going to get you there way too early.
Yeah, and also, then I would have, because I'm not driving to the Garden, so I would have to take a lift to Taunton and then take a lift back from Taunton, and I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that. So I'm not driving to the Garden under any circumstances.
No, if you're staying for the whole show,
Yeah.
I wouldn't drive either.
No, I'm not driving. I just am not. Why? I guess I have something wrong with me, but I'm not doing it. I'm not
Parking
going to.
downtown sucks.
No, it
Parking around the
sucks.
Garden, it's
It sucks. Driving down there sucks. It all sucks down there.
I can't tell you the last time, and I'm the one who is more likely to drive myself places. I won't drive the Garden anymore. I take the train.
And by the way,
every time
getting into that garage at the Garden and then getting out. So the show ends, you go to your car, you got to find your car, and then you get in it, and then you're underground for 45 minutes getting out of there. It's impossible to get out of that garage. So no, but then to get the lift, you can't get the lift in front of the Garden because they closed the street down. So you got to finagle your way to a side street. But you know who's offered me a handicap pass? You'll never guess.
Blind Scott?
Blind Scott.
Hey.
Blind Scott said, just, email him and get together and he'll give me a handicap pass and I'll park wherever I want.
How about this? You go directly from the game today with your daughter and you take her to Scott's place in the North End and you all get a chance to meet and you can pick up the pass from him in the North End and then it's just a few blocks over to the Garden from there, and you can park wherever you want.
Well, I thought about having her mother just drop her at Blind Scott's house before the game,
Better.
and then they could spend a few hours together, and then I could just go over there and pick her up.
Yes.
For the concert.
Yeah.
And I know that she'll be all dressed. She could just bring a suitcase to Scott's and get dressed there. But he's being very sincere. He's like, we can meet and we can do all these things. No.
I don't know why you don't take him up on that.
I don't know. It's because maybe
other than the moral and ethical issues.
Yeah, the child services. Oh, there's a lot of things that wouldn't happen.
Well, using the handicap placard or the parking when you don't really need it.
That would be the least of my concerns. that never even actually occurred to me in the whole scenario.
Never even played the tape that far.
No, there's so many landmines before that one that no. There would also be the intimacy of the emailing and the arranging of the. There's a lot of stuff. It never got to the actual. It never occurred to me to do it. So the efficacy of using the handicap parking spot never occurred to me.
Can you think of a safe place that you would agree to meet Blind Scott at?
I can't.
No. I mean, if he showed up to an event, I'd be like, hey, what's up? But no.
How about a police station? Would you meet him at a police station?
I don't want to go to a police station. No. No. I mean, if he showed up to an event, he showed up to an event. But then Scott's the guy who said, if I was you, I'd be afraid to go to an event because you'll get shot. So whatever's going through Scott's mind, I don't even know if I want to meet him at an event.
Meet him at the Old North Church.
I don't know what that is, but all right. Look,
Sanctuary.
yeah. All right, we got news coming up. We'll have that for you in just a moment.
For homes and businesses in the greater Boston area since 1976, go to johnsewer.com.
From the Telfair Tire Studios, WXAFM and HD1.
It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Paisley Media Group Station.
Essential Sports Hub headline, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox won their fourth in a row last night. Their top prospect continues to heat up.
Stings this one. That's back this way. Way back. A monster shot for Roman Anthony. Red Sox on top 5-1. His second home run, his first at Fenway.
That is Dave O'Brien on NESN. Roman Anthony's first career home run at Fenway Park was part of a 3-hit night. He was a big part of a 9-3 Sox win over Colorado. Anthony has a total of 8 hits in his last 4 games. Sox are only 2 games out of a playoff spot. They play the Rockies once again this evening. In Celtics news, their trade with Portland involving Drew Holiday and Anthony Simons has been changed. It's now a straight player-for-player deal and does not include a pair of second-round draft picks. And this is reportedly because something minor showed up on Holiday's medical report. Also, the Boston Globe reported yesterday Al Horford is not close to deciding his future at the moment. Retirement is a possibility. Orlando has signed Paolo Banchero to a 5-year max extension worth at least $239 million. Phoenix will reportedly buy out the contract of Bradley Beal as soon as the end of the day today. They reportedly signed Devin Booker to a 2-year, $150 million contract extension. And the New York Knicks have officially announced that former Cleveland, Lakers, and Sacramento head coach Mike Brown is Tom Thibodeau's replacement. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Green Home Solutions. If you've got mold or funky odors creeping around your home or office, don't mess around. Visit greenhomesolutions.com/Boston to book your free consultation today. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app, the 98.5 The Sports Hub app.
It's called rising and grinding.
Start your
Got
day.
your finger on the pulse, Fred.
Begin your
Seldom
day
right and never wrong.
right here. Is that Toucher or is that Hardy?
I know, looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
We interrupt this program for breaking news.
I can't use it.
Newsflash.
We're Toucher and Hardy. You can watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. And it is time for a big news story. All right. We're going to do 20 minutes on the Epstein stuff. There's no list, and he committed suicide, is what the DOJ has found. So if you were one of these people that were rattling your sabers for, 5 years about the whole Epstein thing, I suppose you would just walk away now, right?
Yeah, it's all over.
Yeah.
It's all over. I mean, you finally have the truth tellers in office. Now it's the Department of Justice has concluded that there is no list, and that the hands are clean, right?
Yes.
You would just if you spent your entire identity and online presence, talking about the intricacies and the corruption that was around this whole thing, and really the horrible pedophilia and everything else. Now it's over.
All those people just say, I guess I was wrong.
If that happens, I'm going to call. You know what I'm going to call into question? Their efficacy.
Oh,
because it seems like if you weren't buying anything before and now you're buying it, it seems like you're kind of wishy-washy.
exactly.
That would be my point. But listen, I'm a hard hitter. You know what I am? I throw it in your face. I don't care what you think. All right, what's this story?
There is another story, though, in addition to that one, about something that's been going on in Tampa. Now, we know that the real estate market has been a difficult one over these past several years. You know, you had the surge during COVID, and then the market became saturated, and then there's no homes to buy, and it's difficult already to be a real estate agent. But it's even more difficult in Tampa, Fred, with a certain someone who keeps showing up to open houses.
Oh, all right. Like this. Here we go.
Some real estate agents had a disturbing experience. They say a man is showing up at open houses, pretending to be a buyer, then finding an excuse to touch or caress their feet.
Why are they labeling us as not having money to buy real estate? Many of us we wear top hats and monocles.
Why can't it be both?
Yes. I mean, we are the Monopoly man. Monopoly used to just have, the only pieces were shoes.
Open-toed shoes, boots.
I mean, open toe for looking and boots for stepping. Well, I'm not going to have you wear a sandal to step on my genitalia. It's going to be a stiletto. All right, let's get.
This is day one stuff.
Yeah, this is introductory stuff. This is. Listen, don't waste my time. This is if you want to get into the paper chase stuff, we're going to get a lot more involved.
Some real estate agents had a disturbing experience. They say a man is showing up at open houses, pretending to be a buyer, then finding an excuse to touch or caress their feet. News Channel 8's George MacArthur spoke to one of the victims to find out how this is happening.
Angela Julian says she had no idea a typical open house would end up with her feeling violated. Now she and others are coming forward, hoping it leads to action.
There are multiple women realtors that have been experiencing and have had these encounters with this same man. At least 12 of us that we know, spanning as far back as July of last year and as recent as April 12th.
120 toes. Light snack. Yawn.
Only 12?
The dirty dozen.
Angela Julian says her experience at an open house last summer still unsettles her, and now she knows she's not alone.
Came in, looked around the house, asked questions, asked me to show him the backyard. So I showed him the backyard. Then he proceeded to tell me that I had an ant on my foot, and I started hopping around trying to figure out where the ant was.
The victims say they've been targeted by a man pretending to be a potential buyer. Several of them claim he used excuses like bugs or ants to get close and touch their feet.
I didn't see an ant, but he kept telling me that it went.
That little old ant. Think he'll move.
Now, women shouldn't be touched in a way that in any way that they're uncomfortable with.
No,
that's
of course
a
not.
complete violation of their rights as a human. But this seems like an awful long way to go. That you would have them go onto the lawn. You'd go, oh no, you've been attacked by ants. Get them hopping around, and then go to brush the ants off. And how do all of you find out that this happened together? The 12 of you. Is it that the Tampa Bay real estate community is that insular?
They all know each other, and when someone comes up and hatches a
money than anyone else, it's people that love feet. There is some kind of, because I know of girls that have been paid upwards of $1,000 just to have a guy like touch their feet, and that's it. Just touch their feet. Just what are you gonna? And friends of theirs were like, "I'll give you $1,000 just to like, maybe it was like $750 just to like play with your feet." $750, and having that kind of cash on you, you don't write a check for that. What do you put in the memo? Right.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But the whole, I mean, so they're good. So they're good. Let's really discuss this seriously. So they're going to open houses. They're luring the real estate agents into the backyard.
I want to see the backyard. I'd like to see the entire property.
They all have sandals on. They don't. None of them have regular shoes on.
It's Florida.
Yeah, but you're a professional. You're taking someone around a home. I mean, they all have to have BMWs or Audis to display this kind of outward. I mean, they do. Real estate agents all have nice cars. So they're all wearing sandals. You get them into the backyard. You say there's an ant on you. They dance around. And then you use that as an excuse to wipe off their feet. Why don't you just go in the closet and steal all the shoes? That's what makes sense. Or act like a normal person and go through their medicine chest and take all the drugs. like Matthew Perry used to do.
You of all people, though, saying that they shouldn't be wearing sandals. You're wearing flip-flops today. You're a professional. You're in a professional environment, and your whole excuse for wearing your flip-flops around is because you said you lived in Florida.
Good point, Hardy.
Thank you.
You and Jim Norton both have a big problem with me wearing flip-flops to work.
I have a problem with all men wearing flip-flops in public. Yes.
Yeah, Jim Norton used to not like that. He used to make fun of me on Opie and Anthony. He used to say, "This guy wears flip-flops. Can you imagine wearing sandals to work?" That's what he would say. So you're in good company. Yeah, apparently. It's weird because if
Jim and I have very similar tastes in all matters.
It's weird because I don't want to go all NDA on it because these women obviously are claiming to be assaulted, so I don't want to go like all DA on the thing. I'm more just interested in this, pulling this ruse off a dozen times. It seems a little odd.
To get
a little odd if you don't know. This is why it might be on the news.
You're saying she'd be more straightforward about it.
Crush me, mommy.
Yeah,
crush me with those perfect feet. Oh, crush me, please, mommy.
Yeah, that. Like what Jay Stu did there.
Yeah.
Close and touch their feet.
I didn't see an ant, but he kept telling me that it went behind my shoe, and so he started to unbuckle my shoe.
Yeah, this is where it gets a little weird.
Yeah. All right, so she didn't have sandals on. She's obviously wearing shoes, and he's unbuckling the shoes. My bad to assume that there was a sandal involved.
At that point, when someone's down on the ground and he starts to unbuckle your shoe, maybe that's the point where you just kick him in the face.
Again, I don't really know what's going on here. This seems like an awful long way to go to touch a foot. Again, feet are fairly non-sexual to most people. I don't know.
Behind my shoe, and so he started to unbuckle my shoe and caress my foot.
After sharing her experience online, Julian discovered she wasn't alone. One woman commenting on a post saying, quote, "This happened to me in February at my friend's open house when I had a listing." This incident prompting a safety alert for agents across the Bay Area.
Is it okay to touch him again?
No, it is not.
It is nice to know that real estate agents have like open forums just talking ass about the people that are trying to buy homes. Just complaining about the prospective customers.
We just need to be prepared going into hosting open houses and also maybe doing background checks on people.
Clearwater police confirmed an incident matching the description, and investigators are reminding.
Where is this woman? Why is she in traffic? Is she like, she's like at one of the houses where it happened? That's got to be great if that's the house you're listing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this is the place with the weirdo with the foot ant thing. Just standing right there in front
right
of it.
out here on 5A. There's a little bit of traffic, a little bit of street noise.
I know. This isn't a real good thing for the house. I mean, there's this kind of street noise. It's 5 o'clock. I mean, I can't have dinner with my family under this kind of conditions.
Confirmed an incident matching the description, and investigators are reminding real estate agents to stay vigilant and report any suspicious activity. Reporting in Pinellas County, I'm Georgia MacArthur, 8 on your side.
Vigilant?
What?
Did you catch
to
that?
stay vigilant.
Okay, well.
Vigilant.
To stay vigilant.
Yeah, it's like Death Wish.
They hate us because they are jealous of us.
Well, I'll tell you.
He's a vigilante.
Built a career off.
Yeah, I mean, be vigilant. That's right.
That's right,
you know, the next time someone pulls your foot, just shoot him in the face.
Do you like your feet being rubbed, licked, or tickled?
Well, you need permission to do that. Again, I'll never tire of the oddity of the foot fetish. It seems you drive yourself to an open house.
Is it okay to touch him again?
You know there's a lady real estate agent. You tell her, I want to see the backyard. There's an ant on your foot.
Mm-hmm.
There's an ant on your foot. I'm going to get down on the ground and take your shoe off and then caress your foot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
12 times?
12 different open houses. Freddie, you going to do a follow-up investigation on this?
Something is amiss.
I don't know. It seems like a long way to go to touch a foot.
They are beautiful.
That's right.
I think it matters.
I mean, Rex Ryan just had his wife stick at his. The scenario Rex Ryan had is that he was at a public park, and this woman was sitting in the passenger seat of a truck. There was no one in the driver's side, and she just had her shoes off and she had her feet.
He was playing a cop, right?
Yeah, or a park ranger.
Yeah.
And he came up to her and he's like, "Madam, why are your feet out of the car?"
Okay. Oh, you don't have to put your feet in. You can leave them out.
Yeah, he was like, "What are you loitering around this park for in the passenger seat? Like, I got to come up here and investigate." And then she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, officer." She pulls her feet and he goes, "No, no, 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 no."
Okay. Oh, you don't have to put your feet in. You can leave them out.
No. Don't move a muscle. Leave your feet out. And she goes, "Okay." And then he goes, they get to talking, and he goes, "You have beautiful feet." And
they are beautiful.
And she, like anyone, would be flattered. And she goes, "Well, thank you." And he goes,
"Is it okay to touch him again?"
And that's exactly what he says. He
Yeah.
says, "Can I touch him?" And she goes, "I guess. I mean, if it's your prerogative." And then he says,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
he gets consent. He begins to touch him. And then they get to talking again. But the whole time, his mind is occupied with touching the feet again. He says, "You mind if I touch him again?" She says, "Sure." He touches him again. Next thing you know, he's in the bushes taking care of business.
My
Not with her.
goodness. Very beautiful feet.
Right, thank you, Chase, too. All right, I don't know where I can go with that. It's women don't deserve that kind of stuff, but it's 12 times.
12 times.
This guy took someone into the backyard to wipe the ants off of them. Ugh. All right, we'll see. We'll see where this goes. Keep an eye on this investigation. I'd be interested to see. No name of the guy, no video of the guy, anyone else. So we'll explain in just a moment.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy.
Major League Baseball, there is one rule, and that rule is very simple. Do not bet on baseball. And if you do bet on baseball, you face a lifetime ban. Baseball is just the kind of sport that when you have the ability to gamble the way that you do these days is...
Parking passes around here. I mean, parking places. I was just at the Garden. I sent you a photo at 6:50 a.m. Well, I didn't open it. Your daughter could even stay over the night, and I'll leave the handicap pass in the mailbox so you don't have to see me. So my daughter would spend the night, but I wouldn't have to see Scott.
I'm looking at the photo right now. Loves that Star Market.
You're a brave man opening up those photos because you never know what blind Scott's sending. Will there be closed? Will there not be closed? It's a guessing game.
Emailing at both 1:48 a.m. this morning and 6:52 a.m. Scott, you're not getting enough sleep.
Well, he's up all night, and then he's which is, I guess, not uncommon. That's his whole thing, though. That's why he's calling in Ben Maller every night, because he's up all night. All right, look, the reason we played Jeff Passan saying that before is obviously I can't stand it when people diminish the effects of gambling on baseball or on sports in general. The only thing keeping these games relevant or interesting is the idea that the outcome's not pre-decided. The only thing that can really, really, really ruin a league is a betting scandal. Is that if you find out that something was predetermined, I mean, that can be something you can't get over. So there has to be a zero tolerance policy. Anything else, criminal behavior, while it's terrible and everything else, that ultimately doesn't affect the game. It just affects like the perception of the game. Any kind of drug use doesn't it really. It can affect things with steroids and stuff like that, but it's not. Inning might be ball strike, swinging strike, etc. Both of these pitches, the first pitch of the second inning against the Mariners on June 15th, and the first pitch of the third inning against the Cardinals on June 27th, resulted in pitchers thrown well outside the zone. Yeah, he throws breaking balls that land in the dirt. They're not wild pitches. They're not like in any danger of being a wild pitch. They're easily, like the catcher's easily able to block them, but they are obviously like there's no gray area. They're balls in the dirt on the outside.
I'm looking at him right now.
Yeah.
So
the first one's bad. The second one is
far more obvious.
I mean, it looks like a bad ceremonial first pitch.
All right. Yeah. So if you're dumb and you're Luis Ortiz, you probably think, who cares how, it's a pitch. It's not affecting the game. I'm just going to do this, and
right.
And I don't even know how the games ended up turning out, but obviously one pitch is going to change it.
There's no one on base.
Right.
So
you're thinking, like, what's the big deal? But the way you're an idiot is that that's so easily picked up because who's putting that much money on the first pitch of an inning? Like, that's something that's easily flagged. So my question for baseball is, if you don't want this doesn't sound like something you can do with like a street bookie. That you can go like the first pitch of the fourth inning of this random game is going to be a ball. It doesn't seem like action that most bookies would take. I could be wrong. I don't gamble a lot. But if it is a online gambling thing that's the league has allowed, or it is a casino, simply don't allow these bets. That's all you have to do. It's too much. There's too many of them. Just don't allow it. There you go. The problem's solved. Take those bets away. And I don't think casinos will be crippled if you can't bet on the first pitch of an inning.
Right.
Like, it seems like that's a microscopic amount of the gambling action that they take.
Now people
Just ban
are
it.
People are going to argue when you start taking away this. First they come for the first pitch of an inning to be a ball or a hit batsman bet. Next they came for World Series future.
It's not voting rights.
No, and it just the very specialized in-game next pitch, next basket, whatever.
Oh,
I think you can take those away, and you're not going to infringe on people's enjoyment of betting.
Well, the thing, what you say too is interesting, is when people that gamble compulsively act like it's like an inalienable right.
Yeah.
Why can't players bet on the games? The league allows gambling, huh?
Yeah.
That's not fair. What are you talking about? Fair
on the concept.
No, they're playing in the game, stupid. It's not fair. It doesn't make logical sense. It makes complete logical sense. They're in the game. Well, why can't they bet on other games? Because because they know other people in the league. They're in the league. Get out of here with why can't they bet on it? It's not fair. Fair. How come you can swear to your friends and I can't swear right now? That's not fair. If it logically fair, people can swear. The president can swear. You know, Rob Ford would swear. I'm obsessed with Rob Ford. Would swear at these parliamentary meetings.
Yeah.
But I'm not allowed to swear on this air.
Why can't the pilot drink? People are drinking back there in first class.
It's the exact same thing. Like, what are you, insane? Like, your gambling is so out of control that you can't envision why players can't gamble on the game? And I guarantee you, Artie, people are, I don't know if you've read that or if you just came up with it, but that it's a slippery slope. I wouldn't doubt that.
Oh no! I'm just forecasting what people are going to say.
But I assure you, that's what people are going to say, as if it was an inalienable right, like the right to food and shelter, the right to clean drinking water. It's insane. If this is your feeling on gambling, you have a gambling problem. If it's an outrage to you that you can't bet on the first pitch of an inning, you have an insane gambling problem. That you can't imagine a world where you can't make a legal bet on the first pitch of an inning. That's insanity. That's insanity. If you want to gamble all you want, but if it's going to hurt the game shouldn't allow it. The game shouldn't allow you to do it. Now, if you can find a guy to take the action and it works through those channels, that's fine. But the league just shouldn't allow this. Well, baseball's in trouble with fans. Huh? How many fans is this affecting? Did you guys even know? And you do sports radio, regardless of our knowledge on the topic. You do it. It's 20 hours a week and it's here. When we're not doing foot stories, we're doing sports. So my question is this. Did you even know you could do this?
No.
All right.
I had no idea.
So big deal. Take it away. What percentage of the population, their hobby is betting on the first pitch of an inning?
Less than 1%.
Oh, John.
But it was flagged.
Less than 1%. I'd say one person.
So these bets were flagged in 3 different states. So yes, there are gambling junkies everywhere, and there are people betting on this. But I'm with you. I didn't even know you could do it. The most I've seen is stuff that you can do in-game NBA and in-game NFL.
And I also doubt that, well, it's 3 states, first of all, and I doubt it was like one guy just, drunk, put in a $10,000 bet on something. Like, it's got to be like a big amount of action.
Yes.
Yeah.
On a very specific thing. That's how the guy in the NBA got caught. It was like some obscure players, some obscure line of the game that he had to do, and it was based on his failure rate. And so that's how, it's not hard for them to do that. Now, I do get if you're Luis Ortiz and you're throwing your career away, but I do understand how you wouldn't think it would be a big deal. It's 3 states, 3 guys. They're gambling on something. In all good conscience, I can explain away. Look, I throw balls on the first pitch all the time. Like, big deal. Like, I'm starting the guy off with a breaking ball in the dirt. Who cares? But you got to think of your career and that this is going to ruin it. For what? Short money. I don't know how much if the guy was going to make any money that was worthwhile to him, the amount of action on it had to have been insane. Just don't allow it. It's not hard. Just allow people to bet on the outcome of games. Let them bet on spreads in money lines. Have that be that. If you have to. Well, that's not fair and it's not as fun. Well, big deal. Like, you're not allowed to shoot heroin, and I'm told that's fun. There's a lot of stuff you're not allowed to do. You're not allowed to smoke crack. It doesn't hurt anyone else, ultimately, but yourself. No, that's not true. It hurts society. But listen, there's a lot of things you're not allowed to do. If you get drunk, you can't go drive home. There's a lot of things you can't do. The vices are monitored by the government. And if I'm Major League Baseball, I don't even want the government involved. My own product. Get out of your own way. Completely unnecessary. So this guy, if he did it, he should never be allowed to pitch again. That's the one thing. The one thing there should be no leeway on. And any argument to the contrary makes no sense to me. And believe me, I've thought about it. This whole, going, Pete Rose, and he bet on things that, even if he bet on them, what if he bet on them to win? It doesn't matter. Well, you're smart enough to know if he bet on them to win. He's operating in a way that he wouldn't normally operate. He's using the bullpen. He's extending a starter. He's making switches that he normally wouldn't make. He's playing a game to win, where he would normally be playing a game to 1 of 162. He wants to win the game, but he's not going to sacrifice the future to win that game. He's not going to have his starter throw 110 pitches, or he's not going to use 5 guys out of the bullpen and blow his bullpen up to get a win in June on a Monday night. I don't understand this. And then it doesn't make sense. It's not fair. Big fair. Life is so fair. Everything is down the line fair.
No, for the players, and there have been enough instances already. The Padres player who was banned for life last year after he was caught betting on games, they know that that is the one rule that hasn't changed in decades and decades.
That guy was an idiot. I think you're talking about Marcano.
Yeah,
some guy, he placed like over 200 bets on baseball.
Yeah,
all right,
in a 2-year span.
Well, look, there are people on the phone, which is very rare.
Oh.
All right.
Adam told me there are people on the phone.
All right.
So we will take your phone calls. Keep them on. Don't let them move a muscle, because John's going to go on and on this update. So, their tendency is going to be to hang up. All right. We'll be back in just a moment.
Sports Hub headlines, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox beat Colorado at Fenway Park last night 9-3 in the opener of a 3-game series. Sox have won 4 straight. They'll play Colorado again tonight. Celtics trade with Portland involving Drew Holiday is now officially a done deal with a small change. The Oregonian was the first to report that because something minor showed up on Holiday's medical reports, that trade now is just for Anthony Simons straight up and does not include 2 second-round draft picks. The Boston Globe is reporting Al Horford continues to consider retirement. He is not close to a decision, and Orlando has re-signed All-Star Paulo Banchero. It's a 5-year rookie max extension worth at least $239 million. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the FM Championship, returning to TPC Boston August 28th through the 31st. Spend Labor Day weekend watching the top LPGA athletes in action live. To buy tickets and learn more, visit fmchampionship.com today. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9 o'clock.
More Toucher and Hardy on the way on the Sports Hub. When you crack a smile, it's good. When you have a crack in your foundation, it can be wet. That's the time to whack the crack with Ramjack. Call Ramjack and they'll look at your foundation, sidewalk, patio, or concrete deck and give you a free estimate.
is Hardy.
Toucher and Hardy.
I no longer love things.
Let's go. Let's ride.
98.5.
Like, let's roll the dice.
The Sports Hub.
You and everyone else in
That's
that
right.
building. Yeah, they have 2 shows. If our idiot fans will go twice.
Couldn't wait.
Yeah.
Same set both nights.
Really? No.
Absolutely, yeah.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
That's woof.
Yeah.
You
No,
got to
no.
at least change it up a little bit.
Well, not when you've been gone for, almost 2 decades.
There's rehearsals, my friend.
Yeah.
Well, no, all the more to be expansive in your catalog. All right, look, let's not waste this with rare phone calls. Luis Ortiz is being investigated. He'll probably get kicked out of the league, or at least suspended for a long time. You can bet on the first pitch of an inning, whether it's going to be a ball strike, swinging strike, so on and so forth. Against the Mariners, it doesn't really matter. On June 15th and the Cardinals, June 27th, he threw breaking balls in the dirt, easily blockable, really no consequence to the game, but there was unusual activity on him. And my point is, if you're the league, just don't allow it. It doesn't sound like something you can do with a bookie. It doesn't sound like something that you can, call in. So I could be wrong with that, but that's not my concern anyway. If I'm the league and I'm partnering with these sports books and casinos, I would just not allow the betting.
Yeah.
Just get rid of it. And then Hardy made a point that I think that it's not his point, but I think people would say is that, well, that's a slippery slope. And to that, I would say, okay, it's not voting. It's not, food and shelter. This is, the league has no obligation to you. They weren't obligated to Oakland fans to stay in Oakland, and they weren't obligated by Vegas to even be able to move there successfully.
And also, it's okay. This is not a centuries long tradition. This idea of being able to go on your telephone that's in your pocket, and in a moment's notice start placing wagers on games as they're taking place. It's evolving. It's fluid, and they may have gotten a couple of things incorrect, like maybe the ability to place those bets, because turns out there are players who will engage in shenanigans for whatever reason, as short-sighted as it might be. There may be players who are roped into things, or by their own means get into this stuff, and if the games and the outcomes are affected, then you no longer have a sport.
And if you're
So
arguing,
you change it, you fix it.
and if you're arguing how this needs to be something that's allowed, pitches in the first inning being allowed to be gambled on these sites, this is akin to counting pills. If you're counting pills, chances are you have an unhealthy relationship with the narcotic.
Wow.
If you're this gung ho about betting on the first pitch of an inning, you're a compulsive gambler. I don't. Those aren't pills.
I count my lozenges.
They're over-the-counter medicine.
That's different.
It's a big deal. Next thing, wow, you're taking a lot of Advils. Tyler, go ahead.
Hey, you doing, guys? Good morning. Thank you guys for the entertainment every morning. On the sports betting take, I'm with you on this whole no first pitches in the first inning. It's kind of like the first basket of a quarter. I don't see the sense in it. You could kind of rig it up your way. You could hold the ball and try to get it. Makes no sense to me. But I do think that it would have a pretty decent impact on the legal betting community, just because I know of so many groups on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, who these people are like, oh, follow me and I'll give you bets. And these are these people's bread and butter. So I think it could have
the first pitch of an inning is their bread and butter.
Yeah,
no chance.
I have seen multiple sports betting people who do these things, and every day they're putting up first baskets of the game, first
all right, okay,
game, stuff like that.
Sure, fair enough. I don't doubt it, and I don't doubt that's true. But I can't imagine that accounts for even 1% of the action that these online betting places take. And even if it did, it's not worth it.
That guy he's talking about, you hear about these things. It used to be a call-in line, but now it's a subscription kind of to his website. That's a small piece of a greater group of bets that this guy is offering. If you take that away from this guy, you're not going to damage
Well,
his
I'm going
overall.
to highly doubt that the guy has any information I can't glean myself on the first pitch of an inning that these guys normally throw.
And that's where I was leading.
I mean, I
to.
could go
Yes.
through, and I'm sure, and sift through data to go find out how often this guy throws a first pitch strike at the start of the inning. And I wouldn't even go with that data, because
depends on the hitter, depends on where the game is, depends on tendencies, how this guy is done recently.
Like, I don't know anyone's strategy is just to throw a ball in the dirt the first pitch of every inning that they throw. Like, their strategy is, I'm just going to pound this into the dirt. Now, there's times they'll do it, but not usually in a 0-0 count. Up 0-2, you might throw one in the dirt.
Yeah.
But, I mean, 0-0, you're just you start off the inning, that's your little hobby.
Yeah.
I guess if someone had an OCD where they had to do it, like that Oklahoma City announcer who has to say Moneyball 3 or whatever the hell he says. Mike, go ahead.
It was just, it's not so much an illegal thing, but just more of a funny thing. There were these guys on Instagram, and they were betting Angel Reese missed first shot.
Yes, that's a thing. Oh, yes, that's absolutely a thing. Yes.
And over 70% win rate, and then they got a cease and desist either from like the league or from Angel Reese's camp, and whatever site they were using to place that bet, they had to take that bet. They don't offer it anymore.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'll tell you this, is that the insistence on that league on Angel Reese is something else. Do you know the commissioner won't say Caitlin Clark's name without saying Angel Reese? There's something that it's unfair Caitlin Clark's getting all this attention.
Other than that she's really good?
No, who cares? If you're the league, who cares? She's not getting attention because she was doing porn. She's getting attention for playing basketball.
Yeah.
Well, it's might because she's white. Okay, fine. If you're the WNBA, it's like they can't stand success. They're like, all they do is badmouth Caitlin Clark.
It's like
now.
they get nervous when the spotlight is actually shown.
That's
on them.
exactly what it is. It's like their integrity of like why people are watching it should be different.
We were doing all this stuff and no one was paying attention.
They're like, you're watching this for the wrong reasons.
Wait a minute.
Like, wait, you should be watching everyone. Why do you care?
You should be watching.
Yeah,
period.
Exactly.
End of sentence.
I mean, they can't get out of their own way. They're dumb, really dumb. Every time I hear Angel Reese's name, I just think it's being thrust into a conversation on purpose, as if. All right, you're talking. I can't have that.
Oh, Fred!
I'll go back to him. I'll go back to him. I put him on hold.
All right.
I didn't hang up. Dan, go ahead, Dan.
It's not specifically to the first pitch of an inning, but I guess that casinos make a ridiculous chunk of their profits off of just in-game betting. So that's why they'll leave it in there. The casinos are making so much money, and I know this because I used to just bet on games, and then I got drunk during the Super Bowl and was betting on, like, next pass, yards on the next play.
Right.
Everything. So,
okay, but let's review.
But I understand that you can take away just first pitch.
Yes, you
but
can.
They love. They could.
Yeah, but in-game betting is you're broadening the scope. I understand that in-game betting is huge for online gambling sites and casinos, and I understand that. And by the way, the Super Bowl, all you can do whatever you want. I don't think anyone except for Neil O'Donnell's tanking a Super Bowl, but the in-game gambling is like quarter, different quarter spreads, and
and it's also
and
not dependent. It's also not dependent on one person doing one action. It's like the reason why they cap the betting on things like the anthem over or under, because one person can affect it. So the most you can bet on some of these prop bets is like $50 at the most. So if there's one guy in control of that bet, the pitcher, whether or not he's going to throw a ball or hit the batter, then you either have to get rid of it or cap it, so you don't have massive amounts of money exchanging hands based on what this one person can do at that moment. Who's going to score the first basket of a game? There are 9 other guys out there on the court who have something to say about that.
Yeah, and if it's like the length of the national anthem, and I'm singing the national anthem, and I got a buddy from high school that wants to bet on it, I'll keep a stopwatch. I mean, what do I care? So I'm going to go to jail?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? What did I do wrong? Well, the over/under was 220, and you or 120, and you went 121. Okay.
Well, that's a very fast anthem.
Well,
120, Fred.
Well, you know what I do is I tap it on the guitar.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about speed and dexterity, like karate. Boo.
Hey.
Nate, go ahead.
What's going on? I think you're underestimating my generation, Gen Z, of how much we're all degenerate gamblers, because the last Red Sox game I was at, there was a kid bell to bell every pitch, betting on every single pitch, which obviously he's the outlier, but you got to think he's not the only one out there doing this.
Oh, I don't doubt there's people doing it. It's just that they're compulsive gamblers, and if I'm Major League Baseball, it's not worth the integrity of my game.
You're right. I just think they're greedy and they want to keep it.
No, they're for sure greedy, and I'm sure they want to keep it. But if I'm the league, I'm just saying no. Like, I don't expect the sports books to pull it, because they wouldn't want to pull anything. Major League Baseball would want to pull it. And also, I'm talking about like the partnership Major League Baseball has with these sites, is that I can't imagine it like destroys your relationship with them if you take away this one opportunity to bet on something. Like, I find it hard to believe, you know?
It's not worth ruining it, because then they're making no money yet.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, but...
Yeah. No, but I don't doubt that people are betting on every pitch. They're compulsive gamblers. And by the way, that can't be a lot of money. I don't think that kid's putting, 1,000 on every pitch. Maybe he was.
Not if he's betting all night, he's not.
But listen, maybe you get up and then you keep going.
Yeah.
Maybe you figure at the end, if it breaks, 51%, you're up more money. I don't know. What do I know? Maybe he's got a system, John. Some of these people have systems.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. Like, I have a friend who says he counts cards. And then you go, how do you count cards? And it's the most dumb thing. It's like it's +1 or +2.
Yeah, for the high card.
Right. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, wow, no one else could figure that out. You must have. Vegas is screwed.
Vegas loves card counting.
Yes, well, yeah.
Not
the real ones, but the fake
not
ones.
the MIT blackjack team, but
No.
the thousands of quote unquote card counters. They love them.
Yeah, like no one, Vegas is like, wow, you have this +1 method of counting cards. Like, we're completely screwed now. Now we're out of business. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
The boner. How we.
At vehicle maintenance this month, visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your drive-through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people.
From the Telstra Tire Studios, WDZ and HD1. It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Solak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Make it 4 straight wins for the Red Sox and 7 in their last 9 games after a 9-3 victory over last place Colorado at Fenway Park yesterday evening. Richard Fitz allowed 2 earned runs in 5 2/3 innings for his first Major League win, and Roman Anthony added his first Fenway homer.
Yeah, it felt great. It was just great to get that first one at Fenway out of the way. But no, it was awesome. Just a great team win.
Sox will face the Rockies again tonight as this 3-game series continues. The Oregonian first to report yesterday that because something minor showed up on Drew Holiday's medical reports, the Celtics trade with Portland for Anthony Simons was straight up and did not include a pair of second-round draft picks. Boston Globe is reporting Al Horford continues to consider retirement. He's not close to a decision. Orlando has re-signed All-Star Paulo Banchero to a 5-year rookie max extension worth at least $239 million. And the Phoenix Suns will reportedly buy out the remainder of Bradley Beal's contract as soon as today and have signed Devin Booker to a 2-year, $150 million contract extension. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the new burgers at the 99, like the new Bourbon Onion Burger. Their half-pound 100% American Angus beef is sure to please. You gotta love the 9s. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
To us, Boston pride runs deep.
I'm a Bostonian!
This is Boston's Home for Sports.
Bow, bow, bow!
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Fred, what's it like to work with Hardy and Wallach?
What a golden ticket I've gotten.
There you have it. Toucher and Hardy resumes on the Sports Hub.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy, and here we are in the middle of the summer. Filling time. All right, Adam, you have a game, though. You're kind enough to join, to have us in a game.
Yes, at the end of yesterday's show, Hardy, as part of the stack, talked about how Cardi B had wiped her Instagram clean. That was perhaps indicative of the was it Tusi? Was that the video with Stephon Diggs from earlier this summer? Yeah, it was Tusi. So I had mentioned this. I had lunch with my son Jacob yesterday. He's a big fan of Cardi
Tusi?
B. Yes, a huge fan of Tusi.
Wow.
He can't get enough of it.
That's very odd that you're leaning into
He and his friends they can't get enough of the Tusi. So no, but I was telling him about that story because he's a Cardi B fan. He's a fan of those styles of music, and he also is a fan of this show. And he said something along the lines of, "Oh, we got to let Wallach know that maybe Cardi B is back on the market right now." I thought that was a very funny quip, and it led to this idea we came up with: is let's test you and John Wallach's knowledge of big booty pop stars.
Okay.
So I came up with a short list of hip hop and pop stars that have big behinds or have had big behinds. And Hardy is going to
have had, so they could be dead.
No, not dead, but have maybe changed their look over time.
Surgery to get rid of it?
Maybe not.
Come on, that doesn't happen.
Now you've created a game for me to lose and John to be upset about.
Bigger than you want.
So you want him
smaller.
mourning? Have a funeral dirge ready for when these women
12
no longer have big butts.
Most of them do.
Damn.
Most of them do.
Well, I would hope.
Why would most of them not?
Hardy
all
is
of
going
them?
to give you 3 songs from each of these artists. He can give you 3 song titles and then a clip of a song, and you have to between the two of you see if you can name the big booty pop stars.
So we're playing together.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're the focus, John. But Fred is going to help because some of these artists, because Fred's going to Tyler the Creator tonight. He's aware of some of this. His kids are into the same music that I'm into.
You know how in a experiment they'll have a control group. I'm like the control group in this experiment.
I'll keep track of the scoring too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, what's the point of playing a game if we're not keeping score?
It's shocking that you're doing that. All right, very good.
All right, starting with number one. Your 3 song titles are Bang Bang, Starship.
Oh, this is Gorky Park.
And
nice.
Now it's either super bass or super bass.
Super bass.
I'm guessing it's bass. Thank you.
Descendants have a song called Mr. Bass. And my friend was like, it's called Mr. Bass. And I'm like, it's called Mr. Bass. I'd never heard it. I'm like, you're such an idiot. But it was Mr. Bass. All right,
and
so
Dan Aykroyd had the Bass-O-Matic.
Which is so funny.
Yeah.
All right, so Bang Bang.
Yeah.
This is a big Bang Bang sounds familiar.
Yeah, that was a big song a few years ago. I think I know the answer to this.
Well, go ahead.
Is it Nicki Minaj?
Why?
Well, I wouldn't know.
Always ask.
Now, Nicki Minaj, where does she stand in your hierarchy, John? I don't need you to like by numeral, but it's by tier. Is this a top tier booty for you?
It's up there. I'd say tier 2. Not top tier, but next level down.
You know, since the internet, my days of fantasizing about musicians or actresses have gone way out the window.
Okay.
The proliferation of pornography,
right,
has made that, or people from my past has made that completely irrelevant.
All right, number 2, John Wallach. Well done. You're in the lead.
Thank you.
This is a game designed again for me to lose.
Well, we're playing together, Fred.
Boy is a Liar Part 2. Much like Synchronicity and Synchronicity.
Sure.
Boy is a Liar Part 2, Barbie World, and Princess Diana. Princess Diana sounds like this.
And I just fell in love with a gangster.
Oh, that explains it.
But I don't let him come to the crib, so we get it on where we at.
Now, Adam, your kid listens to the same music as my kids.
Yes.
This sounds incredibly unique. Now, I understand if you were listening to like hardcore punk as a parent in like the early 80s, it would all sound the same.
Sure.
So I understand that whole thing. But I heard an old MC, I can't remember who it was, talking about how fans are now saying that they don't care about the rapping, that they prefer just the music. And if you imagine that 15 years ago, that it doesn't matter like what you're saying or like the complexity of your rhymes or anything or the cleverness of the statement, like none of it matters.
It's just about the mood.
But it used to be entirely, even if you sucked at rapping, it was entirely about the statement you were making, like it just like killing people or whatever. Well, this is certainly not Little Yachty. Little Yachty might be opening today for Tyler the Creator when I go to Tyler the Creator. Now, this is someone with a big behind, John.
Okay.
So, obviously you've played with yourself to this at some point.
I don't know. This is going to be a guess.
Are most of the women that you like with the big booties African American, or is it?
No. We've talked about certain porn stars that I like. We've talked about. I believe Alexis Texas was discussed on this program.
Now, does she have tattooed thighs?
I don't know the answer to that because I'm not looking there, Fred. I don't know.
Disgusting.
I'm gonna put this down as a loss for both of you here.
Can I guess?
Yeah, sure.
Iggy Azalea?
No.
I'm a booty-legged hitman to the core.
That is Ice Spice.
Okay.
Ice Spice.
Oh, yeah. Ice Spice, one of the worst performances in Saturday Night Live history.
Really? Was not good.
No, she really
I wanted
dropped
to like
the ball.
it too, but no.
Yeah, my daughter likes Ice Spice, but that doesn't play so much. I don't let her play music in the car on the account it's infuriating. All right, go ahead.
Girls Like You, I Like It.
Thanks.
And Taki Taki.
Oh, okay, I know that.
I don't know that one.
All right, Taki Taki.
Take the lead.
Is that SZA? No. Okay.
We had a whole discussion as to if we needed to censor that word, and since I used an already censored version of the song that kept that word in, I said we can keep it in.
Please. Let her celebrate her body.
Thank you.
Taki Taki, I know that.
Yeah.
It's someone Zoe listens to. Taki Taki, it's a lady. Oh Jesus, it's not SZA. We already did Nicki Minaj. Cardi B.
There you go,
Freddie
Fred.
T.
Just not enough booty to go around?
Yeah, there we
Well
go.
done.
You know what I did there? Something that John has a lot of trouble with.
You deduced
Deduction.
it.
I deduced.
At some point, we're going to have a
Well
Cardi B song.
Yeah.
All right. John, see if you can get yourself back in here. You're now
right.
tied with Fred. Looking for the hose. 1,000 jugs?
1,000 jugs, yes.
Okay.
Or get it sexy. Get it sexy.
1,000 jugs is what happens when you sacrifice yourself for the religion.
Making my way through the hood with your boo. All his homeboys think I'm cute.
That's not a real song.
It absolutely is.
It's a joke, right?
This is this artist's first single.
Okay.
It, of course, is over the Vanessa Carlton hit, which is sampled by many hip-hop artists.
Wait a second. Wait.
Making my way through the hood with your boo. All his homeboys
If it is,
think
it's
I'm cute.
very subtle.
Riding around 10-5, toting his iron. Bet none and I've tried none.
So it's like a novelty artist.
You can feel too.
Started as a novelty artist, but now is like a legit rapper.
Because it's like a female Das racist almost.
The third song that Hardy gave, what was the third song title you gave, Hardy?
Taki or get it sexy.
Yes, that's a bit of a hint because
Sexy Red.
That is the answer.
Wow, Fred.
There you go.
Wow.
Well, I mean, he gave it to me.
Sexy Red did not, but started her career very slender, and now the booty has grown. So,
Yeah,
John Wallach, you should look into Sexy Red.
I will.
Yes.
Don't you
Do your
worry.
kids listen to this?
That was a misdirect. I was thinking the booty was getting smaller. You were talking booty's
now
getting
the
larger.
booty is what you want it to be. So look at the
so
new
John likes
Sexy
this.
Red, not the stuff from a few
All
years
right,
ago.
hold on. Let me.
No,
let me see
you look at that.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah,
talk amongst
John, you're
yourselves.
losing the game anyway.
I know.
Talking
I
amongst
know.
ourselves is why we do these things.
Yeah.
Fred,
Okay.
see if you can
now.
take a commanding lead here.
John, leggy.
Wow. All right.
This is so easy. Even I would get this one. Savages, Beautiful Mistake, and WAP.
Oh, okay. That's Cardi B.
No.
No. The other one.
Yes.
Megan Thee Stallion.
Yes, there we go.
Jesus Christ, John. Did you
But
know that?
No, isn't that a Cardi B song, though? Featuring
Yes,
Megan
Cardi
Thee
is in it as
Stallion?
well, yes.
Hey!
It's both of them, so you both get points for that.
Wait, did you say Cardi B too?
What I'm saying is they said you were wrong, and I was backing you up saying it's a Cardi B song featuring Megan Thee Stallion.
It's almost like I'm too smart.
Yeah.
Like, because like I'm dominating.
You know what? Don't worry
Even
about it,
something I'm
John.
not-
I gave you both a point.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
It's charity, John. It's almost
criminal
condescending.
how good you are at this.
It's almost
Fred.
condescending to you that they're doing that.
It's criminal that you're kicking ass.
I just want to take a moment to appreciate that everybody's so happy right now. John's getting to think about big butts. Hardy's getting to keep score on something, and Fred's getting to pontificate. It's just it's wonderful.
You
to
shouldn't
see
have
the
told
three
me
of you.
about Sexy Red.
It's good to have you back.
John's
you're
very
gonna be
distracted.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get this next one right. I'm looking at pictures.
Well,
Hood's hottest princess.
I love that you love the most disgusting part of a body too, where all the poo and fart
we all
comes
have
out
our
of.
things. Yep.
This one is too easy, so I'm going to leave off the last one. I'm just going to give you the first two and a hint. Like I'm going to lose you, made you look, and this is a local artist.
Oh wow,
That's good.
And they're black.
No.
Oh, okay,
That's your other hint.
That explains it.
Made you look.
Oh, I know. Okay.
Yeah, you know who this is.
I do know who this is.
Yeah.
I'm never going to think of the name. I know what made you look. Were they on Saturday Night Live?
Yes. Play the clip.
It's not going to Chappelle Roan?
No. Older.
Oh, that's I think you left one off.
Oh,
here.
did we leave that one off?
Older?
Hold on, it's coming here in a moment. I mean, not old, but like 5 or so years ago.
The Stallion. This is Megan
Trainer.
There you go.
But,
I'm a booty leg man to the court.
There's
point for me.
There's big butts and then there's just a big woman. That's just a big woman.
Which she's not anymore. That's been the interesting thing is she pivoted from being that let's celebrate all types of bodies, and now it looks, and I don't know this to be a fact, I just know from what she looks like she's done the Ozempic thing.
Because if you put like Lizzo on this, that's unfair because that's not what John likes. That's just a big lady. John likes a big fat ass on like a woman who's
That is correct.
That's right. LBF. LBF loved it.
That was great.
She's like, all feminist. Take that. Big butts. But John, that's true. You like not a small woman, but the waist has to be way smaller.
It has to be. Well,
Meghan Trainor was fat.
Okay. I gave John this is good. I gave John a half a point for that. So it's 3 to 2.5.
All right.
Fred with the lead. You mentioned Lizzo shouldn't be on here. The next one was a Lizzo song.
Yeah,
I'm going to leave that off.
She's just very big.
And we're only going to have one more, and this is for the win.
Last one.
This is for the win. Put It on the Floor, 7, and the song Big Energy. This is the song Big Energy.
Oh, the sample.
Huge hit.
Yeah, but that sample has been used so many times.
Yeah.
Do you know, John?
No, I do not.
Well, you're using your computer.
I don't. That's why I'm looking. I have no idea.
That's why I'm trying to cheat.
He looks up things. Do you understand that during contests he looks up the answers?
I just was there, yes, and I admitted to doing it in one previous thing. I did.
But I know, and I appreciate. So the punishment was less than it would have been had you not admitted it. but he did look up answers like during a contest. Like one of these dumb games that we're doing where there's no stakes. I don't know who that is. Well,
I don't know who that is.
Let me
either.
guess.
It's not Lizzo, but it's close to that in name.
Oh, I don't know. What is it?
I don't know how to pronounce it. Lotto.
Yeah,
Of course. Yes.
I wouldn't know that.
Oh.
And I only know that song from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Fred,
that's the song they dance to at the end of the show.
Fred, your powers of deduction are spectacular. You are the winner.
You know, I pay attention to my daughter, John. Maybe you should start listening what they're saying and not just preaching at them.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's booty. 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 That's what it is.
You know what I've been noticing about the Beastie Boys recently? Not so great at rapping.
You've said this on several occasions. Now, if you've fallen out of love with the Beastie Boys, that's fine. Why don't you keep it to yourself?
Paul's Boutique is I still think is my favorite album of all time, and I think that still stands up today. But everything else, as they got more and more ingrained in the like very old school, like early '80s style, as they progressed, it got a little bit worse and worse.
Paul's Boutique's a watershed, but check your head and ill communication.
Check your head.
Listen to too many rappers with Nas and how much better Nas is than everyone else. Now, MCA is the best of the three.
Yeah.
But, and that's not debatable. I mean, everyone, they would agree with that.
Sure.
Mike D's the worst.
Best, coolest. I mean, MCA was like...
Yeah,
he was the one.
Yeah, Ad Rock. But yeah, MCA's got the coolest, like, background. Like, he was at those, like... Bad Brain Raw sessions and everything. All right, whatever. We're falling down a rabbit hole. All right, we'll be back in just a moment with our wonderful email segment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
You've got to try the new burgers at the Nines. Bigger, bolder, and beefier. Our half-pound, 100% American Angus beef is sure to please. Try the new Bourbon Onion Burger and get more ang for your buck. You gotta love the Nines.
The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. If you'd like to email us, we do this. We try to do this every day. You can go to 985thesportshub.com and find our email addresses. You can follow us on Twitter and on Instagram at Toucher and Hardy. You can follow Hardy at Hardy985 and me at Fred Toucher. And where the empire is growing slowly.
Where is
steadily.
Where is Nick? I just heard his voice there in the open. Where is he?
On vacation.
Yeah, but where?
I don't know.
Where's he going?
Nowhere with me.
Why?
We're strange. Nick. You can't Nick, you're traveling all around. You can't even make it up to the north end to see your father. Petty grievances. Blowing up into world-shattering, family-shattering problems. Nicholas!
Troubleth your own house, Nicholas. We're estranged.
Nicholas, time is all we have.
No, we had Nick's dad on the show. He seemed good.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he was good. All right. I have so many Blind Scott emails that it's very hard for me to navigate this. He's just like just being silly with these ideas for what I should do at the because he knows I'm going to be at the Garden tonight, so it's a little. He's getting a little.
He's close. He's close to you now.
Yeah, well, I mean
that'll be what happens.
It's a little odd that because he lives in the North End and I'm going to be at the Garden that this is somehow an opportunity for us to do something together.
A lot of emails having the people are fascinated with your trip from Taunton.
Yeah, of
to
course
Newton.
they are. Of course they are. It's very
Nick
interesting.
Says 90 minutes easy at 5 p.m. on 24 from Taunton to Boston. Now, you didn't say you were going directly to Boston.
No.
You said you're going to Newton first and then taking a lift to Boston.
I figure an hour and 15 minutes to get back to Newton from Taunton.
Okay, so there's another option here for you, but some of these suggestions from Scott are really nice. Now, the whole idea about staying at his place overnight, you're probably not going to take him up on that, but how about he could hire you to test everything that he drinks tonight? He'll take a sip first, and he includes a link to a story about a Quebec rodeo festival goer who says she was drugged. So, again, putting the fear into you that everyone is out to get you, which I think is a great idea, Scott, because Fred doesn't walk around with that as his default feeling anyway. But
wait, what? That I'm going to be assaulted?
That people are out to get you a little bit.
It never occurs to me ever. And that's why Scott's thing is so weird that's his thing. No, I never. That's an unfair characterization. I've never even expressed that on air or off. I've never expressed that I thought someone was going to attack me.
Not in the physical sense. No,
I've only had one or two people in the 20 years I've been in town ever directly confront me in public, and the only one that was for sure was. I was drunk and the guy was drunk and we were both on a train. I mean, I've had uncomfortable conversations, but no one's been outright hostile. No, that's unfair. That's not true. No.
You don't feel that there are others conspiring against you?
No, and thankfully I don't, because when it's true, I'm unaware of it and then it all works out in the end. So, no, I really don't. In fact, I don't. I mean, if there's any evidence that I don't, if there's any evidence either way, the evidence is I don't, because there's evidence of that. There's no evidence the other way.
But here's a good suggestion. Now, you're not going to do this, but I like this idea. This comes from Jason. He says, when you leave your house today for this baseball game, you take a lift to South Station. You then take the commuter rail to Taunton. Take a lift to the game. Then you lift after the game. You lift back to the train station, take the train back to South Station, and then you get over to the Garden for the concert.
Wait, why would I go to South Station from? Oh, because you got to get to the South Station to get to North Station.
the train to Taunton runs out of South
runs out of
Station.
South Station.
Not north. It runs out of South Station.
Okay,
So
so,
then
I'd
you
have to
take
switch trains.
Yeah, so
train back
but
to-
you either lift or take the T over to the North
not a
Station.
bad
Okay,
idea.
so
South Station.
so the problem with that is that I would have to get to South Station. That's not a bad idea, and I'm not opposed to taking the commuter rail down there. I would almost prefer it, but then if it left from Newton Center, then I would do that. But because I would have to go into the city to leave the city, I don't think I'd do that.
But you have to go in. You're still taking two. You're taking a lift into the city and a lift out of the city.
Right, no, but I'm saying I'd have to drive into the city to get to Taunton. Like I'd have to take a lift into the city to get to Taunton.
Yeah.
Which is it's not like a terrible idea, but that's the thing is that I don't want to have to go into the city to get to Taunton. It's like adding it's adding more time. Right? Cuz like getting to South Station for me would be like 25 minutes and then I have to get on the train.
You're gonna have to go earlier, maybe. But
I have to get Milo to that game an hour early, and he's got baseball equipment too. I'm not going alone. I mean,
there's that.
I'm telling you, it's not a bad idea. It's just not feasible. I don't think it's a better alternative. I'd rather just drive. I'm not driving into the city, nor will I ever, under any circumstances, drive into downtown Boston. Under any circumstances, the emergency or anything else, I'd get a car and have them drive me there. And open the door and let the person in the emergency get in. There you go.
This is something that is close to my heart and it never leaves me. Bob says, I saw The Departed for the first time in over 10 years last month. I can't stop thinking about the ending. There are two dead state police detectives and an undercover officer who no one knows about, 3 dead bodies. Matt Damon is sitting there with a bloody face and shirt. All he has to do is recommend all 3 for the Medal of Merit, and that ends the investigation right there. No one asks why there are 3 dead bodies and why are you all beat up. He's talking about after the roof scene and the elevator. There are so many plot holes in that movie and so many things that just don't make sense. And people continue to sweat that movie and say, oh, it's the best Boston crime movie. It's the best. No, it's not. Great use of shipping up to Boston.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give him credit for that. But even Scorsese knows. He ended up getting an Oscar for that because he got screwed over so many times before.
Scorsese doesn't like The Departed?
I think if you put truth serum in him, you would say that. Plus, we're not even going to mention the rat on the balcony at the end of it. I mean, now we're just being ridiculous.
Yeah, I didn't understand the symbolism. It was too subtle.
Oh, the Mark Wahlberg line there where he goes, who am I? I'm the guy who does his job. You must be the other guy. Oh, well, I mean, Academy Award for screenwriting right there.
Tour de force.
That's so awesome.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
great.
Yeah. There was that time. There was about a 10-year span where you just... I'll tell you the time that I turned on, everyone was like, watch Ray Donovan. And I turned on Ray Donovan, and it was a boxing gym in Boston. And I went, nope. Like, according to TV and movies, there's boxing gyms. You can't throw.
Ray Donovan was good when they kept it in L.A. And after that, it loses
I don't understand
something.
the whole thing about boxing gyms in Boston.
I don't get it at all.
I mean, there was a fairly good one that Thomas the Hitman Hearns fought out of in Detroit, right?
Yeah, Kronk. Yeah, but the thing is that it wasn't like part of the culture. Like
That
it's
was
like
my
that's
point.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is like when you do. I think it's because white boxers came out of Boston.
Okay.
And so there's
Unless
this
your name is
romanticism.
Marvin Hagler.
Yeah, but he doesn't count apparently because that's
Okay.
Brockton.
All right.
But because no other white boxers came out of Brockton. But the thing is, I think that there is that like tough white boxer thing that people romanticize and they act. But you would think if you were from out of town, you would think that there's this huge boxing community to the point where like everywhere you turn, there's some gritty boxing gym.
Yeah.
Which I am unaware of if that's true. I've managed to. I know there's boxing gyms, but I don't know of like a ton of gritty boxing gyms. They don't seem to be proliferating the city. The real estate's pretty expensive down there. Like, it's not so easy, I don't think, to get a rough, tough Scrabble boxing gym somewhere in the city of Boston. That I don't know. You can ask Jaffe. His kid boxes at that place in Newton.
But Jaffe's not taking this whole youth hockey thing seriously.
No, I've had conversations with other people that know him. It's one of the great things that's happened. Is his statement that he didn't really care.
I know it. He's calling us from a parking lot in Quebec.
Yeah. Or
his
how
son
about
is playing in the
Finland?
tournament. Oh, Finland was another one. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And his kid is taking boxing lessons.
All right, this is from Mark. He says, last week on Monday and Tuesday, Adam, you were here. Just before 6:45, Joe counted to the number 5. I can't remember what he was counting or why.
I heard about this. What's the deal?
But he did a good job getting to the number 5. I thought for sure you would have done a Joe show fill-in recap segment.
Ryan, do you remember so this was Monday or Tuesday of it would be right around 6:45. Joe counting to 5.
Yeah, Joe counted to the number 5. Apparently,
we'll have to go pull audio on that. It's not.
He had the ability to do so, which you can't question. He's filling in the afternoon show this week.
Yeah.
And it's great because people call it's kind of not as good because Felger's not there, but people will call in. Not the show, but I'm saying this particular aspect of Joe being on.
Felger's back today, though.
Okay.
So with Joe there,
But I wonder if they screen calls differently because someone called in and they'll be like, Damian Lillard would be great on the Celtics, and then blah 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 blah, and then they go, Joe, like how long do you marinate meat for?
I heard the ketchup and Coca-Cola segment yesterday.
I heard that too. Yeah.
Joe,
and someone said, Joe, you ever do ketchup and Coke with some Ken's Thousand Island Italian? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I heard of that.
Yeah,
I know about that.
He loves marinating things apparently in Italian dressing. Yeah.
Joe last week asked me
so fancy.
off the
Ken's
mic.
creamy Italian, Coca-Cola and ketchup.
There you go. Let that sit
way,
for an hour.
way ahead of you, pal.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Freddie asked me last week. He's like, after we'd worked for a few days, he goes, "All right, who's worse with the clock?" Because everyone, I have my reputation now being like, let's keep things on time. And he's like, who's worse with the clock, me or Fred? I said, honestly, you. I said, because if Fred's going late, I know there's a reason behind it. Like he's on a roll and he's got momentum and he wants to carry through the thought that he's having or whatever. And Joe's it's a different experience altogether.
No, it's great.
And I love it.
But I would like to hear Felger, like when and take my advice or don't as a listening audience, but like I would like to hear a question about sports, which is where Felger likes to go, and then it derail into a conversation of marinating meat.
Yeah.
How is Felger was spinning into a ditch like
because
that?
it's not a ditch though. It's endearing. Like there's something endearing about it. Like he's so Boston. Like Joe knows everything.
He's as
about
authentic
every
as it gets.
town.
Yeah.
Like he's truly like a man of the people. I hate how I'm always referencing this, but I told you when I was in detox, there was some guy, Hyde Park this and Hyde Park that. I'm like, he was an overweight guy. I'm like, Joe Murray? Like, Joe, yeah. He like knew Joe Murray. I just figured he would. Any town, everyone knows it. It's a trope now. But any town you mention, he can tell you in his opinion, the best specialized restaurant. So it might not be the best overall restaurant, but the restaurant that has the best dish.
Right. The
That
best
he'll tell
Italian
you.
place, or you're like, oh, this is the
Not
place where I'm
Italian
gonna
even.
get
It would be like best chicken parmesan.
Oh, sure, I see what you're saying.
Or best like ribeye steak, like just something like that. Joe's got all of that. Best fried clams, like he's got all of that. As if fried clams differ. There's so much difference in the fried clams. They're fried. Takes all the mystery away.
He's big on clamshell. He likes the clamshell containers for takeout because he likes it's like opening a present. He was saying it's like the presentation of you open the clamshell and you see the food inside.
Yeah, Joe loves it. Joe's the best. All right, well, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Don Rafaela homered for a third straight game. Roman Anthony and Romy Gonzalez also went deep, and the Red Sox won their fourth in a row, 9-3 over Colorado at Fenway Park last night. Richard Fitz picked up his first Major League win. He pitched into the sixth inning in this one. The two teams will go again at Fenway tonight. In Celtics news, their trade with Portland involving Drew Holiday and Anthony Simons has been changed. It's now a straight player-for-player deal and does not include a pair of second-round draft picks. Also, the Boston Globe is reporting Al Horford is not close to deciding his future at the moment. Retirement is a possibility. And the Orlando Magic yesterday signed cornerstone Paolo Banchero to a 5-year max extension worth at least $239 million. Sports Hub headlines are presented by Celsius Energy Drinks. Refresh your energy with zero sugar, essential vitamins, and proven ingredients. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 10 o'clock.
We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. What's going on?
Weird year to be a drummer, as Matt Cameron has left Pearl Jam. Now, there is nothing to indicate that this was anything other than an amicable split. He wrote a long message on Instagram and posted to all of his followers. After 27 fantastic years, I've taken my final steps down from the drum riser for the mighty Pearl Jam. Much love and respect to Jeff, Ed, Mike, and Stone for inviting me into the band in 1998, giving me the opportunity of a lifetime. The band replied, from being one of our first musical heroes in the band's Skinyard and the mighty Soundgarden to playing our first demos in 1990, Matt Cameron has been a singular and true powerhouse of a musician and drummer. 27 years Matt Cameron has been with Pearl Jam. But when you look at the other drummers that have left bands here, Josh Freese, fired rather unceremoniously by Foo Fighters. Apparently the guy who was the drummer for Primus quit. This one kind of escaped my attention.
What, Tim Herb Alexander?
Yeah, I didn't know about this.
They did a whole audition and looked to look for a new drummer. It was a whole thing.
Nico McBain has retired from Iron Maiden.
The clown prince of Iron Maiden, Nico McBain.
Joe Cedars left the New Pornographers, which I did not know about this one. This was not a good story. Zach Starkey fired twice by The Who. Ringo Starr's kid, who had done a really good job of filling in and kind of being like Keith Moon-esque, because they had tried another guy named Simon Phillips as the drummer for The Who when they first did their big reunion or their anniversary tour in 1989. But he was almost like kind of funky. I think he was too good of a drummer, like just too like groovy and funky for that job.
What's the situation with Starkey right now? Because I know they would he claimed he was fired. They said, no, we didn't fire you. And then you're still in the band. And then a couple days later, it was like, he was like, no, I really am out of the band. Like, you're the Who guy, Hardy. Like, did he quit? Was he fired? Is he in the band? Is he out of the band?
There was a dust up on stage, and like Daltrey was yelling at Zach Starkey on stage. There was some footage out there about he was playing something wrong or not right. It's like, he's been the drummer for a really long time. How can you get the song wrong at this point? But this is so far been a year of flux for drummers and bands.
The thing about drumming and retiring is that being a touring drummer is incredibly grueling physically. So I can imagine there's a point where you just don't feel you can do it anymore.
I mean, I think that ended up being the case. Now, we know that Taylor Hawkins had substance issues before, but those Foo Fighters shows go on for 3 hours, and I don't know if you ever talked to him, Fred. Is like the sweetest, funniest guy in the world. But I think he realized that, when he was behind the kit every night, he's up there playing drums behind Dave Grohl, who used to beat on the drums, with a ferocity that was kind of unmatched, at least for bands of that era. And he felt a certain compulsion to, live up to that expectation for hours and hours every night. So it didn't come as a complete surprise that he was taking a lot of substances, I think, to kind of like get up, get down for these shows that would go on night after night after night and go on for hours and hours at a time. So, yeah, not an easy gig.
I just listened to the Geddy Lee book, and strangely enough, he's a massive dork. I mean, you never would have thought it. They have like sci-fi nicknames for each other. It's like a whole thing. Like they're complete nerds. And he's not overly smart, which is also odd. But I wouldn't suggest listening to it. It's not very good. But Neil Peart at the end, and unfortunately he passed before. But he wanted to retire, and part of the reason was family. But part of the reason was he wanted to. They had made some album that he thought was like the best album they'd ever made, and he didn't. He wanted to quit on that before he failed physically. And then Geddy is explaining that other than singing, which is your one part of your the physicality of drumming and how that wears you down. It's by far the most demanding instrument in any band, and regardless orchestra or anything else. Being a rock drummer is the most physically grueling in terms of taxing on the body as a physical exercise. And so there you go.
Eddie Trunk's going to be must listen to today with the Matt Cameron leaving Pearl Jam news. I mean, that's going to be.
He's going to go, I'm not a huge Pearl Jam guy, but
he's going to name drop Matt Cameron's very first band, who's I don't even know the name of. He's going to talk about his time in Soundgarden, and then he's going to say,
I occupy
Skinyard?
Skinyard, yeah, thank you.
Skinyard? Yeah. Skinyard was one of those bands that were on like the back of albums for other compilation albums.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw Matt Cameron playing at like a small club in Vegas where he was, he had like a solo act for a while, but he was still playing drums. And he had these drumsticks that looked like souvenir baseball bats. And he was hitting the biggest crash cymbal I've ever seen in my life. And it was on the biggest stand I've ever seen. And he was hitting it so hard the thing was lifting off the ground. Whoa.
Matt Cameron, known as a no-frills drummer. People liked him to play with him because he liked to keep things extraordinarily basic, apparently. He was a big fan. Because he drummed with Geddy Lee. There you go. Yeah, and so Geddy Lee had a solo project, and he appreciated that he loved Neil Peart and thought he was the best drummer ever, but that Matt Cameron was kind of the anti-Neil Peart, that he would go, that's too busy, or that's too look at me. He would say, that's too look at me. So he liked keeping things very basic.
Think about it. He was a timekeeper. All those weird time signatures and all those Soundgarden songs, you got to be just dialed in and keeping it tight. You don't have a whole lot of time to be flashy.
Yeah, man, you got to sit in that pocket.
That's right.
You got to groove in that pocket, or you're out of it. All right, there you go. There's your 5-minute discussion of drummers, which is a bookend to our 5-minute discussion of Ultimate Frisbee that started the show. So you got two very esoteric things happening at the beginning and end. That'll do it for us.
It's the Ultimate Frisbee.
I'm off to Taunton and then off to Tower of the Creator with my daughter. So this is going to be a fun day. So I'm out of here at 10:15, not a minute later. All right, we will be back tomorrow if I survive this. Bye.